app. It gets all the updates like right when they have. It's very good.
I gotta pull back a little bit.
I gotta smoke some weed real quick. So get off tilt. I get so tilted driving through Hartford.
Oh yeah, it's never fun.
I work in Windsor, so I have to come. I have to fucking.
Alfred Morris signed with the Cardinals today too.
That looks good.
Yeah, it's fine. Because I can lean in.
David Johnson's probably not.
It makes it seem like to me that maybe he's missing like another week.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Edmonds looked real good too.
He did, and I still think Johnson's backfield, but I think Edmonds could carve out that Austin Eckler type of role.
He looked faster and just more explosive.
Well, but you're not loading boxes against him the way they are against David Johnson.
Yeah, true. And it's also the Giants.
And it's all
we're
exactly.
Terrible,
that was the next thing I was going to say too.
Terrible. So whoever that dude is, that guy that's going to be playing for the Lions, he's going to probably have a great game.
Yeah,
he's probably going to have a great game. The Giants' defense is atrocious.
I put in for Ty Johnson and
you're probably going to get him if you said that Black's ahead of him. He doesn't even care.
Black
or maybe that other dude might put it.
Professor Joe.
Professor Joe's not going to put it. He doesn't put it for anybody.
No, so that's what I'm thinking. So I put in for both. I figure I'm definitely getting one of them.
Yo.
I considered what I was asking you about.
You want to smoke?
I'm good. I just did. I was thinking about what we're talking about. If I had a choice between do a deal with Sanu or Sanders, I want Sanders. I'm already vested in the Niners.
I was just going to. Okay. I'm curious to know.
I think those offenses are going to pick it up.
I would have thought you'd want to go the other way around.
I'd be more willing to trade Sanders too. Just because. You know why? Not because of like football. It's because I always have my roster. I always draft them, and then I always trade them. This is the third year in a row that I would trade them and have them on my roster and trade them. What just happened?
We're not live or anything, are we?
Yeah, we are.
We're live.
Oh, it doesn't sound good. Yeah.
Oh, we're waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we're sick. I just wanted to go live so people
I
waiting for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No. That's okay. That's what it was.
Hey, we're openly discussing our league. I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's good publicity for the league.
Yeah, your league is dope.
We have to do a special during the offseason on how to build a competitive league.
I'm about to give away some secrets, bro.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Competitive league?
Have a special one day how to build a competitive league.
Absolutely.
I think I've built
definitely do that.
a league with 11 competitive teams ever since Zach took over Black's team. Zach actually drafted some decent players.
Yeah, true, because this dude doesn't even care, yeah. It's better that he gets to run it with him because he actually like at least knows or does something.
And I honestly like at $250 a pop, like it already should be competitive. I mean, it's not life-changing money, but it's not nothing to sneeze at either.
Close to 2,000 is like 1,800 for first place. I gotta steal one of your guys' plates. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, man. I took double.
I know how nice it is.
Yeah.
I know how
Yeah.
nice it is.
Yeah, it's almost 2 G's for first. Like
You
that's
take double. You guys like quadruple.
like I said, it's nothing to sneeze at, man. That's some big money.
I agree.
Going for the three.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, like, was anybody else impressed with the way the Ravens went there and handled the best?
Absolutely.
I was mega
Absolutely,
impressed,
man.
dude.
How do you?
I was mega impressed, man. I was like, Lamar is my favorite person in the whole world. Besides my kid.
It's crazy parody, man.
On a side note, next time we do this, I will not pass out on how the hell that happened.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Kids had fun.
Exhaustion's a son of a bitch.
I hear you, man. It's all good. Yeah, we'll do it again. But yeah, and now
you still watch the other games too.
Now with Seattle making more moves on defense too, so Quandre Diggs is going to help that out.
Yeah, who's that? A cornerback?
Yeah, from Detroit, third and a fifth rounder or fourth and a fifth, something like that for Diggs.
Wow. Got a lot to fucking go over as far as trade and stuff. Today's been wild.
I mean, are there any more trades?
Well, he just named that other one. It wasn't like
Quandre Diggs.
Yeah,
and that's kind of a big deal.
That was the last I saw. Yeah, it was a pick this year and a pick next year, but I forget, like maybe a
fifth and a seventh.
Fifth and a seventh. Okay. A second for Sanu. That's huge for Atlanta.
That is huge.
I mean, it's huge for the Patriots too, but
those are all good deals all around.
Yeah, and a third and a fourth.
Great value. They're getting great value on their guys.
Atlanta needs to stockpile
Mm-hmm.
because they need defensive players. There's a lot of.
They need like a half.
Well, they need anything that's not a pass catcher, and maybe Matt Ryan if he comes back healthy. But
they're about to do like a half rebuild, I think.
Because even do we trust Freeman going forward, or Smith who's been injured
Absolutely
a lot?
not.
No. They need a running back. They need defense all over. They need offensive line help.
I think
they need help all over.
I think they're going to sign a back in free agency. I think they're going to make that a priority.
Or try to draft one, maybe. I mean,
there's one that sticks out.
I mean, they just give up on Devontae Freeman, in my opinion. Like you can't keep being loyal to a guy who just doesn't do it.
No, and I don't know. I mean, free agency, maybe. I guess it depends who, but there's a lot of those guys right now. Like, I don't want Kenyon Drake. I already know what Kenyon Drake is, I'd almost rather take my chances in the draft if I was the Falcons.
I don't know. I would take a shot on Drake. Look what happened with Michael Turner.
I would take a cheap shot on him, yeah. I would take a Mark Ingram shot on him. Like a Mark Ingram deal, like 2 years, $10 million.
If Tannehill performs in Tennessee, give Drake a chance. Because then it'll be Adam Gase's system. And if last night wasn't evidence of that, you tell me what is.
Yeah, he could still
Adam Gase is so
he could still get traded this year, too.
Who could?
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, the trade deadline is this week, right?
Yeah.
Is it
next week?
Oh, it's next week, yeah. So it's like next Tuesday. But
yeah, we have basically a week left.
Yeah. But you don't have a trade deadline in your league, do you? Like November?
Yes, I do.
November?
I guess after week 10 or week 11.
It's the Wednesday at noon, the day before week 13.
I think I got one.
Mind,
I got one more in me. I got one more in me.
One more in me.
I got one more in me. I like to fire away.
I got one more in me.
I think
Sanders and
man,
I'm done.
I think unless I'm going for a quarterback, I'm all set.
I think you're all set, bro. I think we just made a deal that made your team
that helps a lot. Yeah.
Sick.
Here's the thing: with Nick Foles possibly coming back, I have to get a quarterback now, or I have to go off.
That's what I was saying earlier. To pick up
Foles,
snag him. Nobody's going to pick him up this week. Don't put a claim in. Wind up just for Foles. Don't put a claim in. Just pick him up once we're past waivers because no one's going to pick him up. And then stick him on IR. And this way you're guaranteed.
What about you? Do you want Mr. Josh Allen?
Oh, that's going to be tempting to him.
That is tempting.
I'll tell you what Josh Allen is. He's a better fantasy quarterback than he's a real life quarterback right now.
No, I agree.
He's done me all right. I mean, he gets like 24, 25 points a game. Well, sure.
As long as he stops turning the ball over.
Those rushing attempts are going to give him a floor.
You know what I love about him, the Ravens and the Bills? They have those. You never ever see design runs in the NFL. It's actually fun. To me, it's fun to watch that because that never happens in the NFL.
You see, last night Darnold was like the fourth player, I think, since the start of 2000 that has had -6 fantasy points or fewer.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about some dubious company to be in. All the people that so that's a question I have, right? Because I did it before, and it might have been in this league last year or in my other league. If you're winning and you have a guy going and he doesn't, do you just pull him?
Wait,
like what? if you're winning a game and you're up, like maybe it has playoff implications or something, and you're winning and you have someone playing and he doesn't, and it's say a 4-point game, do you just pull your player?
Why?
You've already won. If you pull your guy, you can't lose. I mean, look at Darnold last night. It's not.
Oh wow,
it's not going to happen.
I never came across that.
I got to imagine. It's not.
So like you're saying, like if you were up already, he had nobody playing, so you had one, and then you had Darnold.
You just had not because I'm sure that cost someone in fantasy somewhere last night.
Yeah, because what if they were up like
he lost 7 points? Yeah. I mean, that's if you were up by 5, you had Darnold. You're thinking, oh, okay, it's
I won.
I already won,
and
now you lost.
It's an outlier.
It is an outlier, but if it happens, you're kicking yourself in the pants forever.
Yeah, but
it's funny because I never ever have thought of that, but that helps me now because if I ever come across that, I'm gonna do that. If I have a guaranteed win, I'll pull a guy.
You guys ready?
You
guys eat and discuss?
I'm fine.
All right, you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. For those of us tuning in, welcome to Treasure or Trash. I am Brian. This is Joe. And Jeremy is back with us this week.
What it do, baby?
Yeah,
I just want to play him. Go ahead, keep going. I need to find Kawhi.
So we're gonna open up by discussing a few headlines over the last week or so. The first one is The Panthers have come out this week and they have said they're going to stick with Kyle Allen this week as camp practices. Jeremy, I'm going to start with you. Where does this leave the Carolina quarterback situation?
Panthers are hot. They're playing well. Kyle Allen's playing serviceable football. It's better than what Cam was doing when he was healthy. I really would be surprised if they don't at least give Allen one more chance. Like, could be a short leash. If he doesn't perform well and you have Cam in the wings, you get him in there. But I'm not rushing back to Cam. I'm going to keep Kyle Allen in there. I really am. And I might even be giving up on Cam after this year if I'm the Panthers and Allen continues to perform like this.
Oh, I have an interesting take. So I would 100% not put Cam back in. First of all, like you said, I think he should be done with Cam. He's too many injuries. That 1 year, he had a marvelous year. I think that was even an outlier, possibly. You know what I mean? Like, has he ever played that good?
15-1.
Has he ever played that good ever again? He hasn't. Injuries caught up to him. This kid, Kyle Allen, is solid. Like, I think sometimes you get enamored with, like, an amazing quarterback. Like, you need an amazing quarterback. Sometimes you just want to try to win some games with, like, a solid quarterback. And that's exactly what that kid is. He just doesn't make mistakes. And I'd rather have a guy who doesn't make mistakes than a guy who's always hurt, makes mistakes, almost can't even throw anymore. I feel like Cam can't even throw the ball anymore. I mean, watching him is like watching him throw a duck. It's just hideous. And the fact that his fashion is just annoying at the least. I would, if I was them, the thing that sucks is that the NFL is crazy because then, you know, your schedule becomes tough. Now I got to go to San Fran. It's like not fair. It's like you're going to have the kid on a short leash, but he's going to go to San Fran. That's a really, really tough game. So I would just stick with him. I don't know what they're going to do. He might have a bad game, and they might.
Well,
and then
here's my first question. If somehow they go in there and they handily beat the 49ers, is he your starter the rest of the way?
1,000%.
I think so.
1,000%.
But let's talk about how good that defense has been, too. Outside of New England, this has been a top 2 or top 3 defense. This Panthers D seems to be real.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a defense you can lean on and you have McCaffrey you can lean on, maybe it's not so much a short leash, but you've got a lot of weapons for this kid. He kind of just has to go out there and not make too many mistakes. I think he's got a team around him that can carry him.
Yeah, so the question is, what should they, like, I feel like putting Cam in might mess it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't unless Allen gets hurt or unless he's really messing things up. At this point in time, yeah, I'm on team Kyle Allen.
I'm always team hot hand because the NFL is all about winning. So if my guy's winning, I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to sit until he throws 5 picks or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm in agreement with you guys. If the Panthers get the win this week,
hopefully, so I hope that he doesn't throw 5 picks this game.
Yeah,
jinx them and then he gets taken out. The Niners defense is so good. The Niners
defense is pretty awful for him too because this is a tough proposition.
Yeah, it is very tough.
Yeah,
in San Fran is a tough.
Here's my now the next point, Mr. Cam Newton. What happens with him? Is he a trade candidate this year? Does he ride the bench the rest of the year? What happens?
Man,
I have an interesting take here for this one. I feel like Cam is checked out. He's had a lot of injuries. We just saw Andrew Luck retire early. You know, I'm not sure he's not done with football, period, if this isn't going to work out. Moving to another team, uprooting your family, going to this place, it's not simple. It takes its tolls, and guys are starting to learn that and figure that out. Cam Newton, to me, it seems like not just these injuries, not just stuff. It just seems like he's a little bit checked out from football. And no, I wouldn't be shocked if he's done completely.
That is an interesting take, but that doesn't make sense because uprooting your whole family he's been there the whole time.
Right, but if he left, like he
that's
was
what
talking,
I'm saying.
Spoon saying trade candidate, like you're going to go elsewhere. If Carolina comes out and says, "Hey, we're on Kyle Allen," you're gone. Like he might just say, "Look, either let me retire here as a backup or something, or I'm done." You know.
So it's tough to say that they would just move on from him.
I'm not.
It's real tough to say that now, but I mean. If somebody comes out and is willing to give him a sick deal for him,
and I think
I would definitely do it.
There is a team that I can think of that could use him right now.
What team do you think that would be?
I'll tell you right now, there's 2 options that are going to happen. I think I'm going to go a little further what you said. He is checked out, but if he's healthy and he has a run in him somewhere else this year, he's going to go with it. And there is one team where if he goes to, it makes them an instant contender, and that's the Bears. Because their QB situation is awful.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They had no faith in Trubisky, I don't think. Chase Daniel's not exactly. He's better fit than Trubisky, but he's still not the starting caliber level. A jump to Cam Newton is leaps and bounds better than what they have.
That would actually make a lot of sense somehow.
It would be a 1 year rental.
We got to see a healthy Cam, though. I'm just not convinced he's healthy. I think that's part of my thing here. Just
Yeah.
the shoulder injury, the
Was
Frank
it
thing.
Lynn Frank? So that is like
Yeah,
such a bad injury.
And the shoulder
It just
injury
lingers.
prior. It's not like we're not talking about somebody who has been a beacon of health in his career before this. Even in college, he wasn't always healthy. So I'm not. Yeah.
That's true. It would be hard to trade for him. It would be hard to be the team to trade for him.
If I'm the Bears and it's a
healthy.
1 year rental, I do it because
And what would you think they would give up for him?
they would probably give up a second or third round pick, I would think.
But you're talking. But if you're the Bears, you need to see him
It'd be hard for me
and
not to
healthy
do that
on
if
the
I was
field
Panthers.
now. Like that means that I think Carolina needs to put him out there, say, "Hey, Cam's back, Cam's healthy. We want to show this trade piece off." I don't know if I see that happening, but
If I'm the Bears, I'm taking a gamble because we're not getting to the playoffs with what we have.
And if they do
I don't think
that,
they're getting to the playoffs. Period.
yeah, if they
But
do
if they
that,
wanna
does
take
that
a
mean the
chance-
end
Yeah.
of Trubisky?
There's nothing
Are
to
they
lose
giving
by
up on
doing
him?
this.
If they make a trade like that, would they be giving up on him?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
So. Yeah,
And you're
I
in a
think
day and
so.
age where because
That's
of
like
the-
that's a fireable offense.
Mhm.
The GM is in trouble, is in hot water. If you skip over Watson and Mahomes and you trade up for a guy and then you're gonna give up on him in year 3.
It's tough. Yeah,
That's a
you see it
risky
happen though.
proposition.
Every once in a while, we see that first round pick, and then you see, a
Ooh,
couple
look at
weeks
Josh
later, hey, he
Rosen.
just got cut. Yeah, Josh Rosen on his
Mhm.
second team and can't even start for the Dolphins.
I know that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's the NFL.
And it's not
That's
like
why I
they're trying
love.
to protect
That's why I
the
love
kid.
the
He's
NFL.
just not good enough to start for them.
It comes at you fast.
Yeah.
It comes at Matt Nagy's about to go from like a wonder kid last year to a super hot seat from 1 year. That's how crazy the NFL. That's how quick the NFL comes at you.
I mean, Lovie Smith got fired with a dominant defense about 7 years ago, and
Yeah, I
barely
didn't
missed
like
the
that.
playoffs.
I like Lovie Smith. I didn't like that fire.
I think Lovie Smith. The problem is Lovie Smith could never develop an offense. But the thing is, in Chicago, they've been more known over the years for being a defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
It's putting it all together
And
too.
if there's any team that would make this move, it is the Bears. You remember when they took a chance on Cordell Stewart years ago?
Mhm.
This is the same type of situation, but a much massive upgrade.
I love Cordell Stewart.
So
I do too.
the Panthers are saying he's healthy and he's going to be practicing. So if he suits up, I would think that would be some sort of indicator that
It
he
is.
can play.
I think if I'm a team though, I want to see
How
him
about
out there
this?
performing.
Would they? Well, they already named Kyle Allen the starter,
Yes,
right?
they did.
Okay, I was gonna say, what if they were like saw that Cam was healthy and they're like, we're gonna put him against the Niners and then he's gonna look trash and then we're gonna put Kyle back in.
I don't think they would do that. Playing against the 49ers would be the worst
Hey,
idea because
it would be a
nobody
bad
has looked
idea.
good against
Nobody's
the
looked
49ers.
good. So what? So they're gonna sacrifice their young rookie that's played well? I think that's even more stupid. I wouldn't want to mess it up. They're
Well,
playing
this
well.
is his chance to win the job, though. He already put up, I think it was 34 on a very good Jacksonville defense.
He did.
So, who's playing without Ramsey, but they're
I
playing
know,
without Ramsey.
It's hard to. For me, it's just hard to put to get the hot hand. Is always like the guy's winning. He's won every game. Like
You got to roll it. If he's going to be your guy going forward, you need to see how he does with big tests. And
talk about these trades. Let's talk about
we got to
trade
talk about the
Tuesday.
trades. This is where I was getting to. Is there were actually real trades that happened
There were.
today. We have Mohamed Sanu, Gary and Conley, Emmanuel Sanders, and Quandre Diggs all moving teams.
Yep.
Uh,
Emmanuel Sanders to the Niners.
Joe, I'm going to start with you. Of the 4 players trades today, who helps their team the most and why?
Mohamed Sanu. What a trade that was. That's a great trade. That's what the Pats need. That's the only thing I feel like the Pats are like looking for. They have Gordon. Gordon is their big body receiver. He's been banged up. I haven't really seen him out there. He hasn't done much. Sanu fits right in there. Lovely. He's a veteran. I think he's gonna play right. I think he'll play right away. I think he'll do well right away against the Browns, like instantly. I think it's an instant upgrade.
I'm going to go with Quandre Diggs. I like Sanu to the Patriots. I think he's good. I think it's a really good real-world pickup for them. We're talking about a team that was already beyond elite. I mean, it's like Patriots tier and everybody else. Like, even we can say what we want about the Niners. They are not in the tier of the Patriots. They are not. I don't care that they're undefeated. They are. It's light years difference. I feel like Quandre Diggs really helps that Seattle defense out. I feel like that's what they need too. Already a good rushing team. Wilson is playing amazing this year. Lockett, Metcalf. It sucks. Disley is hurt, but I feel like the defense, which has been an identity for that Seattle team, kind of needs something. And I think that pickup of Quandre Diggs could really be a big
Do you think
one
it's
for
a
them.
better pickup than the Texans addressing their secondary with Gary and Conley? I'm surprised to see Gruden giving up on a first round pick again.
Yeah.
I would say I think he's better. I think Diggs is better,
I mean,
right?
Conley's the younger player. It's a good pick. It's probably the more hype pick. But I don't know. I think Seattle, though, with that defense being the identity of them for years, I hope that this is that trade that says, okay, we want to maybe get back to that identity a little bit. We need to bolster that. I think Houston's defense is in a little bit more of a rougher shape too.
They are.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Real bad.
Yeah, I don't know that one piece fixes those problems. I mean, I
They're
still
in the
think
bottom-
we're looking
they're in
at
the bottom
shootout
line.
after shootout
Secondary.
with Houston here.
You have the right quarterback for a shootout situation.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I'm just happy there's trades. It's fun to see trades.
Mhm.
It's fun to see these teams that are like, in the hunt and ready to compete to try to get that last piece to make that run.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to lean toward you were talking about with Sanu. I think over time, Sanders proves to be useful for the Niners because this allows them to open up the pass game a little bit. You have a receiver that can get open in space. He is way above anything they have. Marquise Goodwin's a one-trick pony. He's a speedster. Deebo Samuel is still a work in progress with a lot of potential. I think he can benefit from having Sanders there alongside with him. I'm not so hot on Dante Pettis.
The
not-
Niners aren't. Nobody is.
And they're already without a couple wide receivers that they got hurt in the offseason.
Yeah.
So I think immediately this upgrades the receiver core to go along to complement what might be the best running game in the league. You have two versatile backs and guys on the bench that can fill in quite nicely. They can all carve out roles.
I love all those trades on both ends. Like the team gets value, the good team gets the good player. Like you said, that's perfect for the Niners. They just don't have any weapons. They don't have anybody that scares you on the outside.
On the defensive side, they do, but they don't
on the
have
defensive side, of course, but on the offensive side, they don't have much that scares
And
you.
in a tough division, you need that. Except now, Emmanuel Sanders has the undaunted task of being covered by Jalen Ramsey later on in the year when they play.
He's also got Jimmy G throwing him the ball.
Yeah. I mean,
would say-
Kittle's their de facto wide receiver one, anyways.
I just feel like with Jimmy Graham, he's there to not make mistakes. Jimmy Garoppolo is there to not make mistakes and to help that team win. I think it's that defense and that run game that they're going to lean on. I think Tevin Coleman has come in. He's been great at the goal line. He's handled a lot of that. Breida, like we talked about, everybody else with Mostert and Jeff Wilson, they're loaded at running back. I feel like that and their defense is going to continue to be their identity. I do think that trade helps them. I think Manny is definitely an upgrade, but I just don't know if it's a huge impact because I just don't think the passing game is their identity, and I don't think they're going to ask Jimmy Graham, Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'll tell you why I think it's a good fit is for play action. Emmanuel Sanders is a good play.
You open up the offensive playbook, you're limited. You have to open it up at some point, or everyone's going to figure you out.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not like Garoppolo. He's not great. He hasn't wowed or anything, but he learned from the best. And we've seen what Brissett has done in Indianapolis.
He has. I think they're two different quarterbacks. I think
They are
Brissett
absolutely.
I think Brissett is the better of the two, but we'll see. I could be wrong about this. Maybe maybe he's pissed at me. Yeah, maybe Manny is going to prove me wrong, but I think it's a better. I think it's good. I just don't think it's a huge difference maker.
It's just somebody to have out there. It's just anybody would have been better to have out there. You know what I mean? So that's just solid. It's just solid. Yeah. It's good for the Broncos to get. Like I said, the other teams keep getting value. Second for Sanu. What was that? With the third and fifth for Sanders? For aging wide receivers, 31, 32 years old, I believe.
Yep.
I mean,
he's a
that's a great value.
While you develop Deebo, as far as I'm concerned.
And that's good if you're trying to make a run. Sometimes you want to get that little piece. You get that little waiver wire piece. Get that little.
I have to agree. We'll see how these trades work out in the coming weeks.
It's just fun to see.
Bonus question before we talk about previous week's events. I want to go around the table. I want you to name one player you expect to be traded by the deadline and where they're going to. Jeremy started off.
Kenyon Drake. I don't think he wants to be in Miami. I think Miami wants to try to trade their pieces off. I think they want to see what they have in Mark Walton Jr. I think Drake is going to go. I think right now Detroit, we just learned Carry-On's going on IR today. They have J.D. McKissick to be their receiving back, and the young guy Ty Johnson, the 5th rounder. See what he can do. But Kenyon Drake, and I'm going to say he winds up on Detroit.
Yeah, I didn't mean to blood him.
It's okay.
I'm going to go with AJ Green, but I don't think it's going to happen because we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, and all they know how to do is blunder. They're just a blundering team. I don't know what direction they're going in. They're, in my opinion, actually the worst team in the NFL. They're even worse than the Miami Dolphins. I seen a little heart on Sunday from the Dolphins, and they have a direction. They stockpile picks. What are the Bengals like? What are they doing? Does anybody know what they're doing? They're just awful. Like, everything about them. Trade away AJ Green for some value. Get him to a team that he can win it. I like AJ Green. Get him on a contender, for God's sakes.
Well, I think I'm going to go with AJ Green here, but I'm also going to say a backup option if AJ Green does not move anywhere. I'm going to say a very bold prediction here. I think Buffalo is going to trade for a wide receiver after watching what the other two teams with great defenses like themselves did at wide receiver. And my guess is it's either going to be AJ Green or it's going to be a guy who's in an offense right now who's been deemed expendable. And there's a few guys that come to mind. And the first name that comes to mind, honestly, is a guy that's been in Buffalo before, Robert Woods. He's expendable in that offense right now because they're doing 2 tight end sets.
That would be awesome for the Bills.
They're throwing the Cup. They're throwing the Cooks. Woods is expendable, and he'd be a better fit in Buffalo where he would be one of the focal points. Him and John Brown would split a lot of the targets. This is all unless they're all in on Duke Williams, which they could be. Not his fault. He got hurt the other day, but he was starting to get him involved before he went down the other day.
Yeah.
So
I like Woods quite a bit. I mean, he's still a target monster, and they're still throwing him the ball a ton. I think Brandon Cooks tends to be the odd man out there.
He always is the odd man.
But he's also your deep threat play, too. So it's, Woods and Cups are more of a security blanket. But
if Woods was traded, Cooks' targets would go up.
Yeah, I think if anybody goes there, I mean, you're still feeding 3 players and Gerald Everett and a run game, that can at least get a few passes. So yeah, there's a lot to go around.
Whatever the Bills would be willing to give up, it would make sense for the Rams to try to recoup what they gave to get
Bills
Rams.
Would be a good landing spot.
That would make sense. I just think like the Bengals should try to do something right this season. Give the man who's been nothing but loyal to your terrible, terrible, terrible franchise, because the guy's been there poor guy's been there his whole season, his whole life, his whole career. I would love to see him be on a contender. I always like AJ Green. He just goes out there and catches balls and say
much. They say they're not trading him, but
it doesn't. It just makes sense.
Of that this year. And guys go.
It just doesn't even make sense for them to keep him on their roster. Like he's been hurt and he's not. This is his contract year, I believe. They're not going to pay him or nothing. So it's just like dude, why don't you just get some value from him? Like, you're not doing anything.
I want to give you a quick bonus one. I'll do really quick.
Go ahead.
How about the Steelers for Teddy Bridgewater? You have Drew Brees coming back. The Steelers have a pretty weak schedule here.
Amazing.
They should beat the Dolphins this week. You need somebody.
That's right.
Just real quick, I just want to put it out there. But man, Teddy B seems like he could be a legit NFL starter. And if the Steelers think they have a shot, that might be a landing place.
Man, that would be amazing.
They would immediately answer the question of who the heir apparent to Roethlisberger.
Absolutely, and you don't have to use a draft pick, and you can probably get Teddy from them for a second or a third round.
If you think the Saints would move on from Bridgewater if they don't think Teddy's the guy, does that mean Taysom Hill's going to be their quarterback in the future?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it says to them that they think they're not sure Teddy B's their guy. They still think they have a couple years out of Drew Brees, and we're going to just keep going with what works.
I love
Teddy Two Gloves though. That's my man. Yeah. He done tore up his knee.
That would be great for the city of Pittsburgh, and I think that would keep Tomlin there.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that would help him a lot. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think the Steelers should. They're not on my dust team. The Steelers yet. Not yet. They're not on my list.
If
yet.
they lose to Miami in prime time this
week, they will go in that. They will go on that list.
All right, now I do want to get to that dust list. I'm very intrigued when you talk shit about bad teams. So what I want to do is I want to recap the previous week, but I'm not going to go here and go down every game like I've been doing. I want each of us to start. I'm going to start with you, Joe. I want 3 takeaways from this weekend. 1 good thing, 1 bad thing, and 1 thing you saw that you think will impact the rest of the season for anybody. It could be a team, a division, etc.
First takeaway is Lamar Jackson is the freaking real deal, dude. This dude went to Seattle and ran all over them and just dominated that game. You saw the play on 4th down? He said, "Coach, look, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this. I'm the man. I'm gonna get this."
They said, "Touchdown, sit down. I got
touchdown."
This. Yeah.
Like that right there. Actually, that to me was like the coming out moment. Like this guy is like legit, dude. Like if I had any questions from him going in, which obviously like he doesn't. They don't throw that much, but it doesn't matter. They just run it down your face, and like it's coming, and they just still are able to run it down your face. Like Lamar's the man. What else? San Fran defense is just going to carry them. I mean, I don't know how they ended up only 9 points against the Washington Redskins.
It was very, very bad with field conditions.
It was very bad
raining and mud.
It was, but their defense is just that good. The Saints defense travels lovely. Like I know the Bears' offense is not great, but the week before they shut down the Jags in Jacksonville. They're just a traveling shutdown, I guess. That was my takes.
You want a good, a bad, and a.
Oh, I didn't even answer your point. I just went.
Well, you gave me good. I'll take. Yep. So it's all right, but you pretty much gave me 3 things you're optimistic on. So you like Lamar going forward?
Yes, love Lamar.
And the Niners and the Saints defenses are for real.
They're top 3 defenses, and they just travel everywhere.
Are you looking forward to the Week 14 matchup between those?
That's going to be one of the best games of the year. I love defense, so I don't care. I'll watch a game that goes 6-0, whatever.
I mean,
I just want to see some guys get hit. That's all I'm here for. I just want to see some guys get tackled hard.
Let's discuss the Niners' schedule real quick, shall we? Because they're going to be tested very, very soon going forward, and now we're going to find out if they're for real or not. And I will.
Seahawks.
Here's the upcoming schedule: home to Carolina,
which is going to be a very good game. I'll be tuning in that game.
At home to Carolina, at Arizona on Thursday night on Halloween, home to Seattle on Monday night, and then home to Arizona. So they have Arizona twice, sandwiched with Seattle. Then home to Green Bay, at Baltimore, at New Orleans, home to Atlanta, home to the Rams, at the Seahawks. That's a gauntlet.
Wow. So we're about to find out if they're for real. We're about to find out for real because even the Cardinals, they play them twice in the next month.
Yeah,
and they've been playing. I mean, granted they beat my.
They're growing as a team.
Giants are my dust teams, but like they've been playing better. They're not going to be an easy out, and I think that you might be able to find out this week alone if the Niners are for real. With Carolina's good deep, we already talked about how good their defense is. We could find out this week if they're for real.
On the Niners or on my 3 takeaways?
Give me a quick take on the Niners, and then I want your 3 takeaways.
This is a big one. You have 2 amazing defenses. They're facing one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in the league this week in McCaffrey. If they can shut him down, it's a tough game. I think this really does. On either side, I think this really goes a long way. Like I said earlier, I like the Niners. I still don't think they're in that elite category. I know we can say the Patriots haven't played a lot of good teams yet or this or that or the other, but I think this is a proven game. I think they got a few proven games left.
Yeah,
but yeah, this one's going to go a long ways. If they can handle them decisively, I'll feel much more confident in the Niners. Much more confident.
I would agree. Yeah. Go ahead with your point.
Yeah, go with your takeaways.
Well, you went with a lot of good stuff, so I'm going to start with something bad, and that's Sam Darnold. This is a guy that I thought last week, like, oh, the Jets, and maybe this is the Jets as a whole, too, not just Darnold. Only bright spot last night being Lev Bell, period. He ran really well. If they could give him the ball even more, I think they would. But, man, it was ugly. I believe he wound up with -7 fantasy points, 0 real-life points. I didn't crack 100 passing yards. I don't believe. Why the Jets left that poor kid in there, I don't get it.
Anytime you're telling your coach, I'm
seeing ghosts, yeah, during a game.
I might be asking him, you got a concussion? Are you on some LS?
I mean, the Patriots defense has been amazing this year. They looked really good, but it was extra ugly against a team in the Jets that coming into this year, we were talking about them and the Bills in the AFC East. Like, are they going to make that move up from like the also rans? Or are they going to kind of sit where they are, or can they contend, or what? And the Bills have proven that they can, and the Jets just they're relegated to not much above Miami level. You know,
That's a really good point about leaving them in. I can't believe you left them in. I mean, they're getting absolutely slaughtered. They have 0% chance of winning the game. You're going to leave your young franchise quarterback in just to mess up his psyche even more. Like his psyche is already messed up. He's telling you he's seeing ghosts. It's time to sit down, son. Like, you know, you have no chance of winning that game. Like, there's absolutely no point in being in ghosts.
He was spooked.
Yes.
I'm telling so. The Patriots defense, that Niners defense, that Bills defense, that Saints defense, they're all in a league of their own.
Yeah.
They're just so dominant.
Well,
they're so dominant.
Well, I want to move into someone else that I want to give you for my good that I feel like I'm going to put with those dominant teams. That's the Minnesota Vikings. This is a team who we already thought had a top 2 or 3 running back in Dalvin Cook, who's been great. Madison, who's carved out a role as, you know, I don't want to say change of pace because they're very similar.
He just traded. He just got them.
I did just trade for them, but they've looked good. Now let's not mention since the inception of having passer ratings and QBR, Kirk Cousins is the only quarterback ever to have a passer rating over 135 or higher, throw for 300 or more yards in 3 consecutive games. This is a guy who didn't just snap out of a funk; he flew out of a fucking funk. Like this guy, talk about a 180. He got Diggs going. Thielen is optimistic. He could play this week. He's going well. He got Rudolph involved in the passing game this week. That defense is amazing. You talk about a real home field advantage, not that made-up one in Arrowhead with Kansas City. The Vikings, I really think they are a contender. And we keep talking a lot about that New Orleans and Niners game, Week 14. That could mean a lot. That Vikings team, that is a team. They scare me right now. I think they're the best team in the NFC.
Wow. Are you looking forward to Week 16 when they host Green Bay on the Monday Night Football finale?
Yeah, 100%. Great game. And Green Bay, too. You know, we were talking about that division, how close it was just a couple weeks ago. Talk about 2 teams that have separated themselves from the pack there, you know?
And they have.
Yeah, they really have. So
it's amazing to think one of them will have to play on opening weekend, too.
Yeah. And then you asked for a surprise. I'm going to give you.
Play each other.
I'll give you my surprise as a nice surprise. Chase Edmonds. I know it's against the Giants, you know. Maybe they weren't loading boxes like they are against David Johnson, but this guy came in and just lit up the world.
But he's been getting reps last year.
He has, and I think he has the talent. I think he's a great young back, but it was nice to see him get in there and play it. Arizona Cardinals might have trolled us a little bit, you know, letting David Johnson owners in fantasy thinking he's playing, came out, got a snap.
Yeah, I don't like
and then
that.
I even saw from a prominent fantasy football show out there, not like us, that the Arizona Cardinals Twitter handler came out and put up a thing that said, should have played Chase Edmonds this week. Like, yeah, then be honest with us. Tell us, you know, but or don't troll us, you know.
I like Barry's response to that.
Yeah,
Cardinals suck. Who cares?
And
like,
I don't want to harp on that.
That
was his take. That's not my take. But my take here, though, is that Chase Edmonds, he's a guy to watch going forward. You know, David Johnson's still a great running back. Could he get traded somewhere, do something? I think he's going to carve out a role on that team regardless, and he's my surprise for this week was how well he played.
All right, may I discuss my good, bad, and
please let's do it. Let's hear your 3 takeaways.
This is my first takeaway. The NFC as a whole is stacked with quality and competition from top to bottom. When you have teams like Detroit and Arizona who have been respectfully competitive, how do you find a good team in there? There's so much parity as opposed to the AFC, which in my eyes has much inferior teams outside the Patriots. The Patriots have made a roadblock out of the AFC for the last 20 years.
This is true.
So many good players and good teams like Phillip Rivers haven't won rings because of the Patriots.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning almost didn't because of the Patriots. He's maybe the only quarterback to defeat Brady in championship games, I believe. More times than not. I think others have.
Yeah, but not multiple times.
Not multiple times like Manning did, though.
Yeah. It's a very top-heavy conference, that's for sure. And I think that there's a lot of really good teams, but not great teams. I mean,
is there even anybody that could even come close to the
Houston, Indy's playing very well. A healthy Kansas City Chiefs team, maybe the Bills. But I agree. It's the Patriots and then everybody else.
And then out of those teams that you said, I would say the Colts are the best team out of the teams you said.
Yeah.
Chiefs, I'm like,
but yeah,
I'm real
I feel
iffy on them.
I
I'm
feel
real
like
iffy
the
on the Chiefs.
Patriots right now. If you're asking me, like, yeah, they're saying like I'll pick them in the Super Bowl today in the NFC. Yeah, I just spoke strongly about the Vikings, and we really like the Niners, and we
There's
really like
a ton of good teams. There's
yeah,
some really
it's
good
not
tough
the
teams.
Green Bay and New Orleans. It's not
I
the
feel
same.
in the
Yeah.
NFC it is intertwined. It's down to 3 teams: the Saints, the Niners, and I'm going to say 4. I'm going to include the Vikings and the Packers.
Okay.
Well, the Vikings are in that mix as well. The Packers have a tougher road. They have to play New Orleans, or they have to play the Niners. Excuse me, Niners have the toughest road. They have to play Green Bay and New Orleans. And this is just potential playoff seeding, home field advantage.
Yeah.
And Green Bay's defense actually stacks up pretty well with the Niners. Darius Smith has been amazing this year.
And if the Niners are going to lose, I think it's going to be because that offense just couldn't carry them. And you're going up against a scary defense with an offense that's already proven it can't always move the ball that well. It could be hard, you know?
Out of those teams, the most complete team is the Saints. They're the most complete.
It's scary how well they're playing with Bridgewater there, too.
Let's get Breeze back and see how that offense looks and get,
Kamara injured last week, yeah. And he could be back. They just dropped Zach Center, so
I feel like this is finally maybe could be the year that they don't get screwed over because they've been great. They've been great.
They've had bad luck go their way 2 years,
and they've been each one of those years they were great.
And talk about a city that deserves it, that kind of needs it, you know. And New Orleans, you just lost Zion Williamson. If we can go to basketball for a second, like they need the Saints. They need to catch a break.
Are they still being punished for bounty gate?
It's possible, yeah.
If it is, I don't like it. I want to see them. I just want to see the right team win. Last year was. I didn't like it.
If anyone's to be punished for bounty gate, be Greg Williams.
Yeah, get him out. Why is he still in the league?
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's not the team's fault. It's that guy's fault.
Yeah.
Now I must say as well, the bad this week. Here's the one takeaway I got that scared me. And this is not because it's a bias. This is the truth. If I'm the Bills, how do I let Miami stay in that game? They were 2 yards away from being down 21-9 in that game. If you're a somewhat competitive team and you have a defense that can hold, you're supposed to win these games handily, and you're supposed to wake your offense up and get these guys in tune going forward because you have to outmatch them with offense at some point. You got to let Josh Allen grow. Now go ahead. Usually you have a take on this.
I do, and it's a little bit different. So if you guys agree or disagree, please let me know. I'm curious. I'm a huge college football fan. A lot of times we talk about in college football teams looking past another team, and that just showed this week with Illinois going in and beating Wisconsin. It's 30-point underdogs.
It happens. They're human.
Miami is so bad. They've traded everybody. They're not trying. They're clearly trying to tank. Do you think that some of this is a possibility of Buffalo just looking past Miami? Just already like in their heads, like, yeah, we're going to win this game by 3 scores or more. Who cares? On to the next thing, I really think that part of it is that, especially because it was the slow start. They pulled away at the end. They had a play I've never seen in the NFL, scoring on an onside. Yeah, I love seeing that. But I really feel like it was more a case of they just were not up for that game, and they really looked past them. And I blip on the radar for me. Real blip on the radar.
Yeah, so we got to watch that whole game. They just literally slept off to the first half. They just literally didn't look like the Bills from the past game. They were just like you said, they just overlooked them. They're human. I mean, in their heads, they're like, we're going to win this game no matter what we do. We could come out here and stand here and we're going to win. You know what I mean? So, they probably figured that in the first half, and then at halftime, McDermott was like, yo, we got to wake up at some point. And they woke up, and they took care of it.
Here's the issue. This has been them every week. They start off sluggish, and they wake up eventually by the second half. You remember the Jet game week 1? Offense was asleep for 3 quarters, and then Josh Allen lit it up in the 4th quarter. Same thing with the New England game.
So the problem with that is that when you run into a good team, you're going to be in trouble by halftime.
Well, look what happened in New England. They were in that to win that game. They would have won that game potentially, but they took Josh Allen off the field with that dirty hit by Harmon.
Well, they have another battle coming. So
they're the best 4th quarter team that could use a pick me up in the beginning. They let Tennessee stay in there on them. Granted, Tennessee are tough, but
defense,
if you have an advantage, you need to exploit that. Different team now.
Different team.
I like it.
But
They have an offense.
Yeah, but no, I think you're absolutely right about that. And having to wake up, whatever it is that motivates them, you got to start playing football on offense before the second half starts.
You're not playing Miami Dolphins ever again.
No, I still think it's a blip on the radar, but like you said, the slow start against the Jets, the slow start against Tennessee, the slow start with the Dolphins.
I'm interested in this week's game.
With,
Eagles.
That's
the Eagles are in trouble in there, and they're going to be desperate.
That's a very good point.
It's going to be a good game.
Now, here's my take. Here's the future outlook I have going forward from what we've seen this weekend. I think it's safe to say that I was wrong crowning Houston in terms of the AFC South. I think the Indianapolis Colts are heavily underrated.
Jacoby had something to say about that. Jacoby's mad at you, and Jacoby's mad at you. Brisket is not happy right now. You kept him on your bench, and you thought that I believe in Brisket. I got him as my quarterback in one of my leagues.
I believe a lot in that offensive line too.
Yeah, they have a
that
great
run game. They are good, and the defense
is GM Ryan Grigson, right? That guy's done a great job.
He's
done a great job.
It's a good team.
They built a good team.
Seeing Ebron half show up this week helped out a little bit too.
That was a sick catch. That was a sick catch.
I mean, yeah, it's a good team, and I think they got a lot of pieces, and and that's not to mention once Paris Campbell is up and healthy, I think he could be a wide receiver 2 for that team. They're scary good. They really are.
They have a lot of talent.
Yeah, and Brissett really, really seems like the real deal. We're not talking about a small sample size at this point. He's played for them before. We're talking about almost half a season of football here now where he's looked really good.
I mean, if you look at their 2 losses, they only lost to the Chargers because Vinatieri missed. Yeah, and then they lost to the Raiders when they didn't have Darius Leonard, Hooker, or Dillon. Those are 3 of their best players.
And I believe coming into this week, he was 3rd in touchdowns scored for a quarterback so far. And I believe he was also 3rd in fewest turnovers allowed so far. Like, he's been the real deal.
Yeah.
And that run game helps too, because Mac is running very well in that line with all the protection they're giving. I mean, let's not
It's a solid
discount that.
line.
Yeah, that offensive line is maybe the best.
It's one of the best.
It might be the best in the NFL.
They stockpiled some good picks.
That really helps them a lot too.
Some good picks. Quentin Nelson, man, that guy's an all-pro right away.
And they're fully healthy finally.
Yes.
Yeah. They were missing so many pieces for a couple weeks there, and it hurt them against the Raiders, and I think it limited them against the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Even though they won that game, it limited them, what they could do. So, at full strength, give them credit. They're much, much better than I thought.
I like them as the best team in that division, and I like them to win that division, and I just like Brissett. They made such a good move keeping him and not trading him because I believe the Seahawks.
Oh, of course, it was Philip Brissett.
I believe the Seahawks. The Seahawks inquired about trading for him last year. I believe.
Brissett.
Yeah, they wanted to give him a 2nd round pick, and they said no. And that's
they must have expected he might be starting.
Yes, they did. Yeah. They've done a great job.
Yeah.
Now I want to touch real quick. I want to do this before we preview the upcoming weeks, games, and what we think. I want to talk about fantasy perspective a little bit because I know you guys would like some time to discuss fantasy. So what I'm going to do is I want to give everybody a chance. I want you, starting with Joe, I want you to give me a man who you thought did very well this week, somebody you were very highly disappointed in performance-wise, and then after that, I want you.
Sleeper?
This is for don't talk about this previously.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And then after that, I'll go to you with that. I'll say who I thought was good and bad, and then after we go around, we're gonna do who you think is gonna perform, maybe treasure, who's gonna be straight trash this week, and who's a sleeper that's off people's radars. So for you, who really shined in your eyes last week?
I mean, I already talked about Lamar. That's an obvious one. I love Lamar.
I tell you what.
I'll tell you who I was surprised in was Russ Wilson. So I actually thought this was going to be the Russ Lamar show, period, and it wasn't. It was the Lamar show.
Wilson all over again.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I actually liked that. I liked it even better. I mean, it's not better than Mahomes and Wilson, but I was like looking more forward to it because I have vested interest in Lamar, obviously. But I don't know if I was disappointed or if I was more shocked because Russ has been amazing all year. The pick he threw, I was like, that doesn't look like Russ Wilson. He doesn't make that kind of mistake because it was a pretty egregious one. It was pretty obvious. Trying to think who you could go. I'm trying to think of who
I was gonna say I'll give you my good here, and I know that I use this team as well for one of my goods for just covering the NFL in general. But fantasy wise, it's going to be Kirk Cousins and Stephon Diggs for the Minnesota Vikings. Cousins has been on fire. He's still out there to be owned in about 50% of leagues. When I checked on my ESPN leagues this week,
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's lighting
That's
up the world.
crazy
He's
that
over
he's still
1,000
available.
yards here, and don't quote me. I believe it's 9 touchdowns in these last 3 weeks. And he's been feeding the squeaky wheel in Diggs, who's over 100 yards 3 of the 4 last weeks. He's caught some touchdowns, made some amazing plays. They're not just using him as that short route runner. They've been looking down the field for him, trying to get him in open spaces too. I really like them a lot going forward, and they have an incredibly juicy matchup against the Redskins this week.
They do.
So talking about what they did this past week, love it, and also for what they can do this next week too. And
moving forward, period. I like them a lot. They're another almost complete team as well.
Yeah.
If Kirk Cousins keeps playing like that, they're a complete team. Like the fact that you said that he's available is crazy. He's not available in any of my competitive leagues. If he is, that's crazy. Scoop, please, scoop.
Yeah, you got to.
Whoever your quarterback is, unless he's like Brisket, then don't. Yep. You're taking him as your quarterback.
I'm going to go to my ugly two, which is another quarterback here, and that's Carson Wentz. Offense just looks like it's in a bit of trouble in general. Goddard had a decent game. I think they're a team that desperately needs Deshaun Jackson back, but Wentz is a guy who actually thought about dropping in one of my leagues in favor of picking up Kirk Cousins, and I wound up putting someone else down and picking up Cousins to keep Wentz and not just sacrifice him just yet. But yeah, it's been ugly there in Philly. This is a guy that I thought had a chance to get back to his MVP ways. He hasn't looked good in general, and this last week I feel like he really disappointed again.
For my good, I'm going with Brissett. I love Brissett. He's been 35 points, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on my bench.
Yeah,
one in spite of that.
I know we went over that. I'm gonna look at his points real quick. He has been so good.
I want to say he had me 34.7 in our league, which thank God I won by about 30. Still had a really big week with some of my guys. I started Daniel Jones in that matchup.
Oops.
And Daniel Jones is getting drafted for a different
So let me
quarterback
just quickly,
this
I'm going to quickly go over his numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
22.3 week 1, 20.8 week 2, 27.6 week 3, 26 week 4, and 35 last week. And then he had the KC game, which was just weird.
What was his fantasy?
12 points.
And we talked about this earlier, you and I discussing this. He's a quarterback too. If you're looking at him for fantasy, he's not going to implode. He's not going to go out there and throw for 150 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. He's not that guy. He's been very consistent. He's proven he can take care of the ball. So 12 points isn't a lot, but he's not going to be that guy that goes out there and gets you 4 or 5 or has this Sam Darnold league. I don't think he will ever sabotage your team. And all those 20s, you're talking about all these weeks where he finishes probably a QB6 or better, which is awesome.
He's very, very, very trustable. He has 14 touchdowns. He only has 3 picks. He doesn't turn the ball over very much. Yeah. He's very precise and smart with what he does. And he's
going to play a Jacksonville defense that doesn't really inspire fear in you anymore. Houston, he still has coming up, which is just shootout written all over it. I believe Denver this week, which, we saw what Kansas City and even Matt Moore did in the second half there. I think he's got some exploitable matchups. He's also already played his bye week. So if you need somebody that you can pick up who can play the rest of the year too, this is a guy that you don't even really have to stream him. You can just keep there and use him for the rest of the season.
Quietly good.
Yeah.
Very quietly,
very good.
Very
averaging
good.
24 fantasy points a week, I believe, in our format, which we do get 5 points for a quarterback. So it is a little bit different than a standard setting, but he's been excellent. How about you? Do you have a good and a bad this week?
I do have a good and a bad this week. A good is Darren Waller out of the tight end position. This is a wide receiver converted tight end who has basically become the go-to guy in the Oakland offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. He absolutely crushed it. He absolutely crushed that game. He was amazing. Wall the baller. What it do?
For a team that doesn't have a lot of wide receiver depth,
he's the de facto wide receiver 1 right now, and he's darn good.
They have nothing.
But they have him.
And he's probably the most athletic tight end in the league.
Very possible.
Derek Carr,
he's a great red zone target.
Has gone from throwing to Amari Cooper, throwing more inside the numbers.
Yeah, and that bodes well, and that's smarter for him It's just safer.
Waller is a red zone target.
He's a great red zone target.
He's a former wide receiver, converted tight end, so
And
he has the athletic ability
that
of a
works
wide
out.
receiver.
Sometimes it doesn't work out, but in the case of Antonio Gates or somebody like that, it works out a lot. You know what I mean? Where you have a guy who's just a straight athlete and he's just a mismatch, a nightmare.
Well, his turnaround in his life was amazing, and now
Sorry
talk
about
about tight end. It's okay.
Been waiting for a call from my dad who had to go for a procedure today.
Oh, all's well, sir.
It did. It went as well as it could go. So
we were just saying, Waller is a converted wide receiver with a checkered past. And now he's in the situation to where he's the go-to guy on a team that has no wide receiver depth.
Yep.
And has converted into Derek Carr throwing inside the numbers more than outside the numbers now, and he's the main beneficiary.
Yeah, and talking about fantasy too here, it's such a shallow position this year. Kittle hasn't performed like we expected. Zach Ertz is splitting time with Goddard and is just not what we thought.
O.J. Howard.
Yeah, O.J. Howard. Even Evan Ingram to a degree, and dropped a lot of passes this past week.
Travis Kelce has been
Kelce has been tight end 3 so far this year, and he's only averaging like 13 and a half points. He's been consistent. He's been good. But when you can get Waller, you can get Mark Andrews, who's dinged up now. So now what do we, Will Disley goes down. It's such a shallow position. Having someone like Waller is great. Yeah. And if you can even make a trade for him, which you're probably giving up a ton at this point in time, he's a guy I still advocate to go out and get because, like Brian was saying, he's in a good position.
It's funny because they actually made a deal for him, so it's funny that
there was a trade involving Darren Waller.
It was a very fair and very good. It was a very good trade.
Yeah.
So even if it was early in the season, it was still a good trade.
Yeah, I've gone through 4 tight ends this year. And have landed on Travis Kelce. Don't ask me how, but it's been all over the board.
I don't know how I shipped them.
You recycled through guys that were performing at one point, though, including Olsen.
Right, and if we're talking about it from fantasy, because we were talking earlier a little bit about how to wind up having a great fantasy league, and we'll have a more in-depth discussion about that later, I'm assuming, or on another show. But we have IR spots in our league, which I'm a huge advocate for because you just can't plan around these injuries. And it really allowed me to stick Hunter Henry on there, to not have to drop him when he got that gruesome injury in week 1 with the kneecap. And now I keep him and I have some depth there, and it allowed me to make these moves. So if you are a fantasy commissioner out there and you don't have an IR spot, it's something I think you should think about adding. I really enjoy having IR spots.
I actually will not play on the team in the league that doesn't have IR spots.
Yeah,
I just don't understand. I just don't understand why you wouldn't have them. It's just like I would love to hear their explanation why you wouldn't have them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went from having to drop somebody to get somebody to having a real asset on my team after 6 weeks of play, which was awesome. So
it definitely comes into play.
As far as my disappointment this week, I will say that my disappointment is Kenny Galladay did not benefit from drawing Xavier Rhodes in coverage.
Yeah.
You had a tough day.
Marvin Jones, however,
did benefit.
I want to talk. Forget Marvin Jones. I know you're going to Galladay, and I'm sorry. Just to go to something that was exciting. Yes. Talk about another guy on that team that benefited on this. Talk about an ex-Patriot, an ex-Dolphin who wound up really benefiting on Detroit. Danny Amendola, after week 1 where he went like 6 for 55 something, this week he had like 9 for 124 or something crazy. Yeah. He was fantasy relevant this week. It changes next week. Galladay gets his stuff together. It was disappointing this week, but like you said, he drew Xavier Rhodes and shadowed. That's a tough matchup for anybody. But.
So if for anybody who plays serious fantasy free, whatever, doesn't matter. If you could somehow figure out who the cornerback is guarding that guy, like there are some straight shut down cornerbacks in the NFL these days. If whoever's Stephon Gilmore's guarding, just sit him. I don't even care who it is. It could be like Julio Jones. Like just sit him because I'm telling you he's not gonna have a good game. Xavier Rhodes, another guy, he's gonna shut the guy down. He's not gonna have a good day. There's only a few of those guys, Marshawn Lattimore. But if you could figure out if he's guarding that guy, it benefits you to sit him.
I'll go a little further here. It seems like there's 2 units overall I don't want to face. I do not want to face the Patriots defensive and offense. I do not want to face Niners defensive and offense.
Or the Saints. I don't want to face the Saints either.
The Saints have had points put up on them. Patriots not allowed more than 14. The Niners have not allowed more than 17.
Past 2. I mean, the Bears touchdowns were garbage time touchdowns. I'm talking about Well, I mean, for fantasy wise, I guess that.
What
makes
about the
sense.
Bucks? They gave up 24 to the Bucks.
That was week. What?
They gave 27 to the Rams week 2.
Yeah, it's
The Saints are
I
there.
guess
Don't
you're
get me wrong.
I guess you're right because we're talking fantasy. So I'm talking
Yeah,
about real
we're
life.
just talking the numbers
Yeah,
here
that's true.
because
That's true.
we're talking about
You
teams
got
that
me.
haven't given up more than
You
14.
got me. You got me on the numbers.
But I think a good point that Joe was making is the wide receiver cornerback matchups really matter. And when you
they
can look at
matter.
it deeper and you can say, hey, this guy shadows players in the slot. This guy shadows deep coverage. This guy shadows here. You know, like you said, you want to move away from Xavier Rhodes. You want to move away from Stephon Gilmore. You want to
because the thing is,
yeah.
like, it's so hard to sit like
Yeah.
Odell or somebody or some of those guys.
Yeah.
But if they're going against him, they're still going to get locked down.
And
It's just real life.
And when we're talking about shadow coverage here, because that's exactly what Xavier Rhodes is doing, he's already being covered, Galladay. You've already got a man on him, and now you got Rhodes just sitting back there and wait. So if you have a smart team and a smart quarterback like Stafford, you're not even going to pass
You're not
to
even
him.
going to pass it to him.
And I think he only had 4 targets.
It's
on
almost
the day,
like they
so
go
it
into
wasn't-
It's almost like they go into the game plan saying, "Look, we can't go his way." Because
and when you can find out reliably, like, hey, he's going to be shadowed 80% of routes he runs by this guy, then move off him. Just move off. Yeah.
Absolutely. It could cost you a game.
Yeah.
If starting that guy by the name can cost you a game.
Now there are certain players that I don't advocate ever sitting. You're never going to sit Nuke Hopkins. You're never going to sit.
I mean,
we're not saying to do this
Michael
with
Thomas.
guys. Yeah, Michael Thomas. We're not saying this to do this with people that are just absolute lock and load studs every week.
Yeah.
We're talking about if you were trying to make your choice between your wide receiver 2 or your wide receiver 3, and you thought he's going to draw this extra coverage from this, have a tough matchup. Maybe move off of that a little.
Well, maybe in a playoff game, I might think about sitting him. It's a playoff game, meaning I don't want to get to like if I lose this week, it's over. So
I'm never thinking about sitting Nuke or Julio. I'll go down in flames with those guys.
If they're getting guarded by Stephon Gilmore, I swear I would think about sitting him. I swear in my life.
Yeah.
If it was a playoff game, if it's a playoff game and it's like I could have a.
You still have to have a pretty loaded team to do that. You have to be thinking about like Stephon Diggs and Godwin or players like. I mean, you still have to have a loaded.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like you're not going to do that for D.D. Westbrook. Or
well, I mean, because if you
Tyler.
own Nuke or Michael Thomas, you can't sit them because they're your best
wide
receiver. So that's different. But I mean, if it's like a second, like a smaller tier wide receiver,
Mike
like
Evans maybe,
like a Mike Evans, I can sit him if I need to.
Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods,
because you're gonna get a straight dud. So you got to be thinking that's got to be in the back of your head. I'm getting a straight dud if I start him. Like, I'm getting a 5-point game if I start him. You know what I mean? You got to put that into context.
Yeah.
Now I want to go real quick because we are overlapping on time a little bit, so I want to wrap this segment up. I want to go around and start with Jeremy. I want one guy you think's going to perform this week, one guy who's going to dud this week, and a sleeper nobody's talking about.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and give you the guy I think will perform this week. It's a little bit of a cop-out, but I'm going to give you James Conner on the Steelers. I don't think Jalen Samuels is coming back this week. Why rush him back against the Dolphins? He's a stud. He's been a borderline RB1, this year already. I think he's going to be absolutely great. Let's see. As far as a sleeper, Kenny Stills. I think Houston has, they're going to throw deep. He's a deep threat. Will Fuller is dinged up. I don't think he's going to be playing this week. I really like Kenny Stills. He proved that there's already been some rapport there. He's a guy that's going to be available in a lot of leagues out there where you might be able to trade cheap for. I think he's a guy who can really shine this week. And let's see, who am I going to pick for a fantasy dub this week? I'm going to go with a quarterback, and I'm going to say Phillip Rivers. That Chargers team's been disappointing me. He's a guy I thought you could reliably draft as a back-end quarterback one, and he hasn't been performing. That team is underperforming as a whole. They don't know what to make in the running back position. I mean, Eckler's playing really well, but he's just not doing it. He's not getting done, and they're not finding ways to win football games, and he's just not putting up enough points to get
a very, very, very daunting matchup. In Chicago.
Yes, he has an incredibly and he's already only averaging like 50 fantasy points a game, and you're going into Chicago. If you have other options, or you can pick up someone to stream this week, do not even look Phillip Rivers' way. Yeah, I would not touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Joe, your turn.
Duds?
No, one guy who's going to perform, a dud and a sleeper.
All right. I mean, I'll just go with the guy I traded for, Diggs. I like Diggs against the Redskins. The Redskins are on my dust squad. They're over They're done. They got nothing. Just play all your guys against the Redskins. I don't even know who their cornerbacks are. I don't even care. I don't know if Thielen is going to play. If Thielen doesn't play, that even elevates things. But if he does, sure.
Yeah.
Cut like we already talked about. We already bludgeoned that. Kirk Cousins is on fire. The Vikings have figured it out. Play your Vikings all day. Let's see. Think about sleeper. As far as duds go, we're gonna go back to the cornerback. Let's go with Odell Beckham Jr. They play the Patriots. Guess who's gonna be guarding them? Only the best cornerback in the league. Maybe Landry has a little more production than I just don't like it. I think that's a bad one. It sucks to sit him. If you have him, I mean, I would think about it. I need wins. So like, if I have anybody else that has a better matchup, I mean, it's just an atrocious matchup. It's just a straight atrocious matchup. I would stay away from him if possible. If possible.
I think he's on the border of what we talked about earlier, of being that elite guy you can't sit, and the next guy down because he just hasn't been elite.
Depending on your team, if you have you don't have great receivers, you just have to play him. Obviously, you don't feel confident at all. Though I don't feel confident at all playing him.
He's definitely not a wide receiver one level. This guy,
no, not this week.
Yeah, I'd probably, if I'm doing rankings, I'd probably have him. I have to look, but down around 18, 19.
Yeah, it doesn't look good this week.
Yeah,
for him. As far as sleep. I don't even know. Maybe Chase Edmonds again. Who do the Cardinals got?
They're in the dome against the Saints.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe not. I don't like that. Never mind. I can't even think of a sleeper right now. I'm sleepy right now. I don't know. Sleeping on my team.
How about a guy who did it last week and I think has a chance to do it again this week? Zach Pascal had a massive week. Way underowned. Brissett has been amazing, throwing tons of touchdowns. They need a second option there. Doyle and Hebron are getting targets, but not like they were. I think their target share combined this year has been around 22, 23%. So there are targets to go around. And do I think he's going to put you up 31 fantasy points and score you 2 touchdowns again this week? No, I do not. But do I think he can go out there and get you 6 for 75 and maybe a touchdown? Absolutely, I do. So I'm going to give you Zach Pascal as a second sleeper again this week.
Nice. You got 2. I got 0. What about Komarov for the Packers? Devontae Adams doesn't.
Kumaro.
I said his name wrong. Sorry, buddy.
Kumaro might be a sleeper.
Yeah,
I think you will.
Why not? Martin, MSV too. Sure, MVS. Yeah.
Yeah, Allison. Really, I don't even know what role he really has when he is healthy. It's kind of,
These guys are all just like guys that they just have because they don't have Devontae Adams. So.
But let's talk about this too. Aaron Rodgers, he's still a stud. Is he going to get you 6 touchdowns every week? Of course not. Don't go try trading him thinking that's going to happen. But when you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, anybody could be a sleeper. You know, you always have potential at having a big game with a guy like.
My question is, was it the matchup or did he wake up this Sunday?
A little bit of both. Little bit of both.
Because he put on a straight clinic.
Yeah, the Raiders.
This is Aaron Rodgers of 5-6 years ago that came out here. You know. Yeah.
I mean, he's doing it with guys that I can't even pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Allison, guys that are just like in there, unknown.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
I'd like to go quick about.
Go ahead.
A guy that I'm going to start with my disappointment. I think my surprise disappointment this week is going to be DJ Chark because it's pretty alarming last week when he, against a weak Bengals secondary, was out-targeted by D.D. Westbrook and Chris Conley.
That's a good point.
I'm wondering what's going on there and if this is any sort of preparation to get the offense tailored back to Nick Foles in a couple of weeks.
The targets don't so much scare me with Westbrook. Westbrook has been their target leader. He's getting peppered. He's their route runner extraordinaire. Chark is going to be your deep threat, your more valuable receptions. He's the guy that's going to get those looks 20, 30 yards downfield to get you a lot of fantasy.
And they're playing a very pissed-off Jets defense.
Yeah. I still like Chark this week. I still think that's a guy. Maybe we were getting a little bit crazy ranking him as a guy who could be a top 8 or 10 play, but I think you still have a solid wide receiver too in Chark. I think Dede can be there too. Connolly, aberration. I'm
Conley's
not
an
worried about it.
outlier.
Yeah, that's an outlier.
The problem I see is
Yeah.
Fournette's the focal point of that offense. So
But I think the thing is, though, it runs through him. And yes, he's been getting looks in the passing game, but not a ton. I think they're going to use Fournette to open up the pass game, kind of like the Vikings used Dalvin Cook to help open up that pass game. So I think the receivers there can still get their due.
Once the defense knows this guy is going to pound at us, they got the defensive coordinator is like, we gotta shift. We have to shift our focus, and then that's when you can open it up.
What else you got for a spoon?
I have a performer that I think is going to excel this week, and I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. I don't take it the easy way cop out here, but it's got the perfect plot line for a revenge game against a team that want to keep tagging him. He needs to show them.
Double revenge game, but it doesn't. But the Washington Redskins one doesn't count because they suck.
But this was the franchise that doubted him.
Yeah,
he wants nothing more than to show it up to them.
Yep.
Send it to Diggs, sir. Mm-hmm. Please do.
Yeah, I expect a lot of that. I expect a lot of Dalvin Cooks, a lot of Diggs. If Thielen's healthy, a lot of that. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is going to get loose this game. This could be a game where that offense really has 550, 600 yards of total offense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to look down and see Cousins had 350 and the rush game got another 180.
And if you want a sleeper from me, I'm going to go with another revenge slate here. My big sleeper this week would be a top 5 running back for the week, Frank Gore.
Wow. He's playing well. You
can't
doubt the guy.
It would be a revenge game because they were going to sign him.
No, but he said he did the okie doke and said, I'm going to sign with the Colts, which was smart.
And he would love to stuff it up to them, stuff to their ass every time.
I don't think Frank Gore thinks anything of that.
Because he got...
Frank Gore is ultra motivated.
They brought him in. They were all hyping him up to sign. And they must have done something to deter him away.
It could be. I think this is just more of a, hey, Gore has been great.
I love Gore.
He continues to be the ageless wonder. He continues. And what you want out of a fantasy running back, getting a lot of touches, too. It's not like he's doing this on 8 or 10 touches.
And I think the wheels are coming off in Philly.
Oh, I told you earlier, I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I don't believe in that offense. That defense is still dinged up.
I would be like, this is like their season.
I believe they already announced that Avonte Maddox is out again this week. Like, they are in trouble.
They are.
They have a million injuries everywhere. Djax, I saw, was still doubtful to play this week. Like, it's scary.
John, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
John Brown this week, baby. Play John Brown with confidence this week. I like him this week.
If Duke Williams stays healthy,
pop him in there.
Does he get some stats this week?
Why not?
The game.
I think this could be a get-right game.
I mean, there's certain teams in fantasy we could just pick. Like, it's awesome to pick on teams. Like, just pick on the Eagles. Just play whoever's playing the Eagles and play them with confidence because they're going to get some points. They're going to get some targets.
It's not a great defensive line either, so I think you could see a lot of designed run plays for Josh Allen, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see 5 to 7 designed runs.
I have a very interesting debate on my team because I have Josh Allen against the Eagles and I have Stafford against the Giants. I'm like, wow, this is both juicy. Yeah. Which one's the juicier one?
Stafford against the Giants all day.
Right.
I prefer Josh Allen. I just like the floor.
I like the
floor with the run game.
I love his rushing.
My problem with Josh Allen is
you're a Bills.
He falls asleep the first half, and then he wakes up at the end of the third quarter.
It could be. I
love you're banking he makes the fourth
I love
I just love the floor with Josh Allen. I just feel like you've got 6 points baked in on what he does with his feet. And outside of Lamar, it's otherworldly, he's the only quarterback that can give that to you outside of Lamar. And I really like that out of a starting quarterback. I like that a lot.
It's guaranteed. He does have about almost guaranteed 6 points from motion. That's true.
What do we got for our next segment?
The last segment of the day. This is going to be a rapid full. No, it'll be rapid. We got 45 minutes. We can get through this. We're going to go do what I've been doing, where I go down the list of each game with the spread, the totals, and I want to sit here. I'm going to give the numbers, and I'm going to go around. I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to want you to give me an analysis of the matchup here, and I want each of you to also pick 2 fantasy relevant players on a good or a bad way, your choice, and explain why they're either going to eat or eat shit. And then I want a final score and a prediction with a winner.
Okay.
So, Jeremy, start us off. The Redskins are traveling to Minnesota Minnesota's laying 16. The over/under is 42.
We've hammered this game home already. There's not too much more to say about this one. I'm going to give you the three guys I think are your best plays here. Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and Diggs. I'll hammer on Cousins a little bit more here because he's still available and he might be the guy you're not thinking about. He's a viable starter this week. I think he's a top 4 or 5 quarterback play this week. Get him in your lineup and play him. I think they crush. I think that's a small spread, to be honest with you. I think this is a Minnesota team that just opens this game up and doesn't look back. I'm going to give you a final 38-10. I think they just bowl through them. I think the Redskins find their way to get a touchdown somewhere. Maybe McLaurin gets them in the end zone. I don't know.
Third quarter garbage touchdown down 28-0.
But you're looking at
that's the scenario.
Yeah, I mean you're and you're talking about Vernon
Pretty much.
Davis still in the concussion protocol. Chris Thompson is still. We don't know what's going on. Adrian Peterson still getting looked at. We don't know what's going on. But this is a team in disarray. This is a team that they probably should have lost to the Miami Dolphins, which is crazy to think out loud in my head.
Somebody just tried losing a little harder.
Yeah, so really, that's really what it was. So, I think it's the Vikings. I think it's a blowout. I think you can maybe even think about playing Rudolph if you're desperate at tight end this week, or if you have someone on a bye.
Especially if Thielen doesn't play. Yeah,
yeah, it's really it.
What about Johnson? Could he be a sleeper?
No,
if Thielen misses?
I don't think so. He had a good week this week. He could be there. I like Rudolph better.
You have to have a pretty bad team.
You want a sleeper out of this game if you want to. If this gets out of hand, I think this could be Alexander Madison. Like if the Redskins do get if the Redskins do get down, let's say it's 31-3, you're going to the middle of the third, and you're Madison. What are you gonna do trying to get Dalvin Cook in?
Yeah, no, they're so fine with putting Madison in.
And Madison's proven he's capable against starting players here, not just against backups. I wouldn't be surprised
they
if
wouldn't
this is the type of game where he gets 14 or 15 touches and winds up with 80 yards, a couple catches, and maybe a touchdown.
We'll preview what they have there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They have an amazing running game with Cook and Madison. Mm-hmm. They have no problem putting Madison at any point if they're up on time. I like the Vikings. Like he said, I think I like that. I think I like it more. I think I like a 21 point blowout game. You know what I mean? What was it, 16?
16.5 in Minnesota.
16, in Minnesota, 16. Yeah. It just sets up as such a blowout. As far as fantasy goes, obviously we already talked about Kirk Cousins. All the standard starts. So that's everybody on the Vikings, and then nobody on the Redskins. I think Peterson's going to play just because of the revenge status, but I don't like it very much. The only player I would play would be Lauren. I think Chris Thompson's banged up, so he's not going to play.
McLaurin has another matchup nightmare.
He has he's
going to see Rhodes.
It's I'm trying to find the treasure in the trash.
You're not going to play Paul Richardson.
I'm trying to find
the trash bin is filled with Redskins.
The Redskins are on my team with dust teams. The Redskins have no direction. You have no idea what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. This is a blowout.
Fire up that Vikings defense too. They're probably owned. If they're not, go get them.
From week to week, they don't even know who they're playing at quarterback.
Yeah,
who's going to be the quarterback?
Streaming option this week.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't.
Play all your Vikings. Hopefully, you don't own Redskins.
I don't have much to say except I'm pretty much echoing you two, but I can't think of an alternative argument here. It's just going to be another Thursday night duster. So
yeah. There's two can we get to that for 1 second? 2 primetime games that are just complete bullshit. We have this one, and then we have Steelers and Dolphins. Really? 2 of our 3 primetime games aren't even. And I'm a huge Steelers fan.
The NFL schedule makers.
Oh man, this sucks so bad. Monday night. Yeah, the
it's just because they want to keep all the fans happy. They want to get every team in it once a year. It's like an obligation.
Yeah. I just threw Monday Night Football in the trash.
It's just a trash Thursday game and a trash Monday.
You guys not understand though. The Monday night slate gets better later.
It does, and that's good. But still, you don't.
Indy and New Orleans has become a fascinating game in Week 15 now on Monday night.
Oh, that's a lovely game.
That's a beautiful game.
And I get having the Steelers in there. I know they're down a little this year. I get, but this is
unnecessary. They could have known the Dolphins were going to be bad. Everybody knows Dolphins.
And it's not like we had expectations of the the Redskins to be doing good either. As far as the Thursday night
of course
game
not.
goes,
Of course
yeah.
not.
That's
It's like,
just to get every team involved on national
No,
level.
you're right. Yeah.
It sucks,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
they got to keep it fair because how long was it that these teams not get any national exposure?
No, you're right. But I feel like it's going to be fantasy owners and fantasy owners only watching this game.
exactly.
Like, are Redskins fans even turning in to watch this
I
debacle?
don't think I'd want to
Yeah.
watch that, man. That would
Yeah.
be disgusting to watch. I wouldn't want to watch that.
Mm.
The Vikings are on all octane, and they're
Yeah.
on no octane. Like, it's like the prime example of it.
What do we have for our first 1 o'clock game on Sunday?
The first 1 o'clock game on Sunday involves a team that played in a good Monday Night Football game a couple weeks ago. Getting on the ass end, though, by circumstances not their fault. The jinxed Lions host Daniel Jones and the Giants.
The Giants are on my dust team. My team is on my team with dust.
The Lions are laying 7. The over-under is 49.5. I'm going to disagree with you there, and I'm going to let you start here with what do you think is going to happen? Who do you like to
All right,
perform
so
this
first of
week?
all, I'm
And
very, very disappointed in
give me
the
a final
Giants
score with a
this
pick.
Sunday.
Go ahead. Why are
Very
you
disappointed,
disappointed?
and they had a juicy matchup. The Cardinals are like not a good team. Like they only beat the Bengals and the Falcons. You're at home. You're against like one of the worst secondaries. Yeah, they got Patrick Peterson back, but then he's whatever. Like still had a nice matchup. Just disappointed. I just think that they're just not going to do anything this year. Their offensive line got destroyed by the Cardinals front. It was sad. It was sad affairs. And Daniel Jones cannot hold on to the ball. And he needs to.
Well, this is great because we're going to have a little bit of a debate here with this as far as that goes. I actually like the Giants to cover this week. I think losing Quandre Diggs, or not losing, trading him off of your team if you're Detroit hurts a little bit. Is Daniel Jones great? Obviously not. But it looks like they might get Shepard back this week, finally out of concussion protocol and practicing with the team. Ingram had a couple bad drops. It was rainy. It was miserable there.
It was.
I think that this is a team that, while they're not good, I don't think they're quite in that Cincinnati, Miami Dolphin, Redskins range of teams. So I think they have a pulse, and I think 7's a lot. So I'm going to give you this week, I'm going to give you Detroit winds up pulling it out at home, 27-20. I think it's a close game. I think that the Giants are able to score a little bit, and I think that there's a lot of juicy fantasy goodness to be had here too. Obviously, you're firing up Saquon Barkley on the Giants. I think Shepard, if you need him and he's playing, is available. I think Ingram, if you have him at tight end, you're playing him because you didn't draft anybody else. And on the other side of the ball, with no Kerryon Johnson, if they're out there, go get Ty Johnson, go get J.D. McKissick off of waivers. McKissick's going to be your receiving back there. Couple good receivers against the Giants secondary that doesn't really do anything. I wouldn't fire up Amendola, but I'd be firing up Galladay and every share of Marvin Jones I have.
Absolutely.
A lot of fantasy goodness in this game.
I think that
Stafford must start, obviously.
I want to say first, the Lions might be the most jinxed team in the league. Between the refs screwing them in Green Bay, to Kerryon Johnson getting hurt, it's just amazing to me. And these guys are fighting.
Mm.
They're fighting to stay relevant, and they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
Granted, 27-6 blowing that lead, I can't say anything for that. I can't also say trading up to get Kerryon Johnson, who has a very bad injury history.
Mm.
And this is what happens. They try to make a splash, get a running game going, but they haven't been able to do it. And Stafford's just been a great pocket passer for so long. In regards to this game,
what are the chances the Giants win this game?
they have a decent shot.
Yeah, I would say.
With how snake bit the Lions are, I think the Lions are the better team.
I'd say 35%. I'm going to give them 35%. They win this game 1 out of 3.
So you think it'll be closer than the 7?
Yes. I think this is
I'll take the points.
I'm going to go with a push here.
Okay.
It's going to be a dead push. And I think it's going to be final score Lions 31, Giants 24. And I think Golden Tate and Marvin Jones are both going to go off again, former teammates, trying to outdo each other. And I think Galladay is going to eat as well.
Mm.
The wild card here is whether the Lions can stop Barkley or not. And I don't think they can because we saw what Jamal Williams did to them.
It's Saquon Barkley.
We saw what Dalvin Cook did.
Dude is matchup
He didn't
proof.
look,
Like he's
he didn't look healthy though. But
yeah,
hopefully
he's going to be okay.
He'll be better.
But again,
this week.
in
I think
the
he'll be better
rain,
this
you're
week
not
than last
running
week.
well. It's your first game back. I just think the Giants are a better team. I don't think they're great, but I think they are more in that 20 to 25 range of teams as opposed to being bottom barrel of the league, I really do. And they play that game against Arizona again this week. I think it's a game they win. I would still
the
pick the
conditions
Giants.
definitely messed it up.
Yeah, and again, Shepard's still dinged up. Ingram's still dinged up a little bit. Saquon just fresh back off of that, and in a monsoon. Yeah. All right. What else we got? We got a few 1:00 games this week, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at the slate. I'm sorry. I got to be honest here. It's very lackluster. Nothing has jumped off at me on the page yet. Was it you I was saying this with earlier? That this slate looks like a fucking dusty slate.
Well, I mean, I picked all my games within 1 minute. Not even. I just was like, boom, 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 boom. It's pretty easy pick them this week.
We got the very underwhelming Buccaneers at Titans game. The Titans are laying 2.5 at home. The over/under is 46. Who started last time? You did?
Yeah, he gets started.
Go.
I'm going to disagree with you right here. I think this is a really fun game to watch. I always like watching Jameis Winston. Say what you will, the guy, he might not be great. Maybe you're not the biggest fan of him as a person. I don't know, but he seems to have figured it out pretty good this year. He has a couple of great receiving threats, a backfield that maybe nobody has taken claim of for themselves, but has been solid this year against Ryan Tannehill. Is that, Tennessee? I mean,
Tannehill.
We're going with Tannehill right now. That's what we're going to do. He's come out. I like him. I think Corey Davis has been lacking a guy that can throw him a ball. I don't want to be sitting here sounding like I'm blowing Ryan Tannehill, but he's a large improvement over Mariota, it seems like to me.
Corey Davis has been hungry for a quarterback to get him the ball.
Yeah, I think this is a guy on another team. We're talking about a fantasy stud, a top 10 to 15 receiver. Instead, he's in fantasy no man's land, with Mariota.
Imagine if a guy like Corey Davis on offense like the Rams.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. You switch him with Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp's having the problems that he is, and Davis is going off. But, yeah, I actually really like this game, especially from a fantasy perspective. I think there's a lot of goodness here. I think, especially in the passing game, and this is one too. I'll give you another one that maybe people aren't thinking a lot, maybe just to more keep on your radar, but A.J. Brown. Tannehill's been throwing the ball well, and I think he could be another sleeper guy here. This is a game I like a lot. I know it's in Tennessee. I'm going to take the points just because I don't have a great feeling. I think it's a close game, so I'll take the Bucs getting the 2.5 points. But I think this is a really good football game, and I think it goes over too. So I'll give you Bucs 27 and Tennessee 24.
Joe,
I like Tennessee to win, but I agree with you with the over. I like the over. I do like there are some juicy fantasy matchups there. Tannehill changes the Titans. He makes the receivers upgradable. They're upgraded like instantly. He's just going to throw more than Mariota did. Mariota was not.
He's up against a defense that likes to allow points.
They do. They
don't stop anybody.
No, they don't.
So Corey Davis, nice play. Like you said, A.J. Brown's a little sleeper.
Does this hurt Derrick Henry a little bit? Does it hurt his fantasy value at all?
No, not in my opinion.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think. You're always going to fire. You're going to fire him.
No, yeah. If you have him, you're playing him, and it's not like he's against a vaunted defense here. It's the Bucs. But
if anything, sometimes what happens when you get an upgrading quarterback, it actually helps the running back.
Yeah.
Because then it makes it so now we got to worry about the pass a little more.
Yeah. He's just not a big receiving threat. And if we thought they were going to air it out a little bit more with Tannehill. But yeah, I tend to agree on that. I just wanted to see what you guys thought about, his relevance there going forward.
And then the Bucs, they're coming off the bye, so I like them to try to air it out. They got nothing to lose. Like you said, I think that will be a fun game.
Titans defense is good, but you're not going to see. There's nobody here in shadow coverage that really scares you with them. You're going to fire up Godwin. You're going to fire up Evans. And feel really good. I would recommend not playing either tight end if you can move off of it because OJ and Brake we don't really know.
Nobody knows. They don't even know.
It's really Godwin. It's really Evans. I mean, you're talking.
I'm going to give up on Howard right now.
Yeah.
There was a report that the Patriots made.
They inquired about him.
Yeah.
To get him.
And they said no somehow.
Well, I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either. But
they're not throwing it to him. It's not like he's dropping balls or doing this.
Yeah.
He's only getting like 3.5, 4
They're,
targets a game.
they're not giving him a chance.
Yeah, they're
I
giving
mean,
him a chance.
they are throwing the ball like a combined 30 times to Evans and Godwin. So there is that. Their target share
I'm
is
gonna
bananas.
chime in here for a second.
Yeah.
This is a vaunted secondary that plays well at home. That I do not trust either receiver against. Maybe this is an OJ Howard game. But here's the thing: your quarterback has to get you the ball, and I'm gonna make a bold prediction this week. They're gonna come off a bye, and James will go back to 4 turnovers a game
It could.
against this defense. This defense will keep him in
If that
check.
happens, he's getting benched. I don't even know who the backup is. But
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm gonna.
Arians
Who did they have?
certainly
after
said he wouldn't
Fitzpatrick?
bench him, and when he said that, I was like, he's gonna bench him. If he's
I don't think he's going to wind up getting benched. I think if he does, it's a late thing. They're down a lot, and he's coming back into play.
I mean, if he throws 4 or 5 picks, he's getting
he
benched.
seems to have
And if he
figured out.
doesn't get benched,
He seems to have figured out this Arians offense, though. It seems to have clicked with him.
Well, then what happened to What happened in London?
I know Carolina in London.
Yeah,
it's
London's
I
tough.
don't want to just
I
say
watched
like
that
we're
whole
going to
game.
give
It
him a
was pretty
free pass, but going to play in London, unfamiliar field against a really good team. It's
That they just beat.
I know. But NFL, we talk about how much parity there is this year and how much things are changing week to week too. So I'm not too worried about that. I think they're going to do okay against Tennessee this week. I really do.
I'm gonna take Tennessee here. I'm gonna take them by 10
Ooh, okay.
because the defense is gonna step up. Dory Jackson, Malcolm Butler aren't gonna let these guys go for 100 yards on them. I think Jameis is gonna struggle mightily, and I think Corey Davis, Delaney Walker, and possibly AJ Brown all do well. And I'm gonna make another bold prediction. Derrick Henry will be a top 5 back going for $150 with at least 2 touchdowns this week because the Buccaneers cannot stop the run.
Yeah, I do like Henry a lot.
That's a very bold one. Okay. All right. I like it. I think he's playable this week. I think he's great.
I think the Titans. I do think the Titans win, but it's just I'm not going to be sitting Godwin or Evans.
No.
You have to start them, but you're not going to like it. You have to start people, but and ignore
I believe they have
those guys are on that
Dory
list.
Jackson is one of their cornerbacks.
Yeah,
He's
I
good.
don't.
They do.
mind.
They play well more. They don't have like the shadow like you're talking
Yeah.
about. They play more like
And
well as a
Byard might
team.
be the most underrated safety.
He is a great
He's
safety.
fantastic.
He is a
yeah.
great safety. So that's what I'm saying. They play. They have better safeties and they play more like
I don't see.
more cover two.
Yeah.
They're able to like play as a team better than like the one cornerback that's shadow.
I don't see this game being any good for Tennessee or Tampa Bay. Excuse me.
All right,
I think the next
I
game
respect it.
we have two teams in dire need of a win right here. The LA Chargers are traveling to Chicago. Chicago is laying 4. The over/under is 40.
Joe, you got right.
Yes. Joe, start us off. Where do you see this game going?
Man, this is a weird game.
This is must win. This
This
is
is must win for both.
teams.
of them. This is a big game for both. I mean, the Chargers are actually, in my opinion, they're done. Their season's over. They've just been atrocious. They have too many injuries, I guess. They can overcome the injuries. Whatever. They just haven't been good. I mean, they literally find every single way of how to lose a game possible.
You're stealing my thunder.
It's unbelievable. It's
You're
Sunday.
my
I'm watching
thunder.
the game. I'm thinking, okay, if you guys lose this game,
Yeah.
if I was a Chargers fan, I would just be like, oh,
Yeah.
like I would be going crazy. How is this possible?
Mhm.
But they somehow lose it. They always find a way to lose. They're almost snake bitten at this point. They always have injuries. They always injury riddled.
Yeah.
I like the Bears in this game because the Chargers are done. And I don't love the Bears because I don't love their team right now. They're not very good on offense. We said it was 4.
It's 4.
You said the over/under was
4.
Yeah, I don't like this game very much. I like the under in this game.
We were talking about Detroit earlier and them being the bad luck team, and as soon as you said that, my first reaction was wait till we get to the Chargers because that to me is that bad luck team.
What a way to lose Sunday!
Yeah,
huh?
and then
Bizarre sequence of events.
Yeah,
they thought they had the game won twice.
Yeah, and even the Steelers tried to give it back to them a little bit. They just can't quite come back. This is a team that's had a lot of injuries this year. I can't figure out Keenan Allen. Great to start, then he dies. the Hunter Henry thing. This is a Chargers team that I want to say was it 2010, 2011, where they were literally number one in defense and number one in offense and didn't make the playoffs
because of special teams.
Yeah, this is a team that just finds way to lose. And it's crazy because I usually look at Phillip Rivers as that consistent quarterback that's going to throw you 275 to 300 and 1 or 2 touchdowns, and it's not there. And I don't like this team. And the Bears, I like. Trubisky, I think, hurts him. Trey Burton isn't what we thought he'd ever be coming over
the
from
Bears
the Eagles.
have to live with that Trubisky pick for the next 5 years.
But right now, on a fantasy thing, the only 2 people in this game, 3 people in this game I feel comfortable starting would be Allen Robinson on the Bears, Eckler on the Chargers, and Hunter Henry. This game is no good all around.
I like Hunter Henry in this game because the coverage that Keenan Allen is going to draw is going to be ridiculous. And Mike Williams is ineffective. He's playing hurt. Mm-hmm. And he is not what everybody thought he was going to blossom into this year. He's on the verge of being a first-round bust from where he was taken.
I'll tell you what I like in this game. I like the Bears' defense to kind of rebound this game. You know what I mean? I feel like they kind of let them down last week.
I don't even mind the Chargers' defense in this game going up against Mitch Trubisky and a run game that doesn't scare you in the slightest.
I'm gonna go back to what Nagy said yesterday in the press conference. I'm gonna do a little foreshadowing here.
Yeah.
I might get to see a lot of David Montgomery this week. And I think he might go for 80 yards and a touchdown because the Chargers cannot stop the ground game.
The Chargers can't stop anything.
So this might be a coming out game for David Montgomery.
It sets up very well for the Bears to have a bounce back from just straight to.
I agree.
I'm going to take the under in the points here. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think you could see a lot of running. I think you could see a lot of short passes, especially with Eckler and Tariq Cohen. I think we could see the clock run a lot. And I just don't like either team that much. So I'm going to take 4 points in what I think will be a close game. I like the under better, but I'm going to go under, and I'll say Chicago wins this game 20-17.
I'm gonna go with
21. I hate the 4.
17 Bears.
Pushing it under. I like it.
I'm gonna go pushing it under.
See, that's why I don't. That's why I wouldn't want to bet it because it's like 4. Come on, what do you
you're not gonna hold the Chargers to.
I'm gonna take the points.
I would agree with you guys.
The Chargers will go with points. We'll get some points. They're not gonna put up in the 20s, but I don't think they're gonna put up 9 either.
I agree.
And then there'll be somewhat competitive.
It's definitely a desperation game for them and for the Bears. Like you're gonna be seeing. I mean, you're gonna be seeing all they got because this is all they got.
Now moving on. One of your dusty teams. You have a list of them I see right there, but this has got to be at the top of the dusty teams. The Falcons are home to the Seahawks.
Man,
but the Seahawks are coming in as low favorites of 3.5.
Go ahead and throw Dan Quinn in the unemployment line. Let's just go ahead and do that because he's done though.
I was at the pizzeria earlier picking up my food, and I saw Dan Quinn looking for a job down there.
You should have told him to come on the podcast. He can come fucking hang out with us.
So did this line shift at all with knowing Matt Ryan is most likely not playing?
It was 3.5.
Okay, did it shift at all with any of the Sanu news at all?
No, it's still 3.5.
Yeah, it feels like a trap. Like Vegas knows something I don't know. Seattle is traveling West Coast to East Coast, which is always a little bit tough to do.
Well, you saw they struggled against the Browns for a little bit there.
They did, and then they just got roughed up against the Ravens at home. I think this is just a matter of like, what have you done for me lately? And right now, I'm going to take Seattle. I'm going to take him in a big way. I really like them. I think they blow them out this game. I think it's a get-right game. I think they come in here. I think they get Carson going on the ground. I think Russ gets right this week against a secondary that's stopping absolutely nobody. I'm going to take Seattle 31. I think Atlanta gets on the board. I'll say 20. I think it's a high-scoring game, but I think Seattle gets.
Yes, I love Seattle like 31-3. What's the spread?
So it's 3.5 over under
3.5. That's it.
Over under.
What are they doing?
54.
Yeah.
Oh, I said over. Geez, I guess I'm taking the under.
I would take the under, but why are the Seahawks getting by 3 against this?
Because I'll say this again: the Seahawks don't stop anybody.
All right. Well, but who's going to be the Falcons' quarterback? Matt Schaub. I mean,
it's going to take Quandre Diggs a lot less to come in and figure out this defense than it would be for an offensive player to come in and learn the playbook. I think he makes a difference right away.
Matt Ryan is questionable, correct?
Yeah, he is questionable. And
Russ Wilson is
you just lost Sanu. It's one less weapon that you've got to watch for. 16% of the targets gone from that offense.
I'll make a bold statement. If Matt Ryan does not play, the Seahawks defense is going to eat because Matt Shaw will be throwing interceptions.
I'm
This
going
will
to
be a
officially
get-right game.
announce the
Is
Atlanta
he
Falcons
47?
as the get right.
Oh, he's old.
The Atlanta Falcons are the get
He's 37.
are if you have the Atlanta Falcons on your schedule, that is your get right game. Last week the Rams get right game. This week Seahawks bounce back, blowout, 31-3, book
Have
it,
that get right
bet it,
week. Yeah.
whatever you want to do. Play Russ Wilson, play all the Seahawks, all your Seahawks, Lockett, Carson, even
Metcalf.
play Metcalf, definitely.
Not probably. Absolutely. You're
Absolutely.
playing Metcalf this week.
Metcalf, is this a blow-up game for Metcalf?
I think it could be,
It definitely
especially
could be.
no Will Disley.
Definitely
Carson
could be.
does not do a lot in the passing game.
And Russ Wilson does not have a tight end he can throw the ball to.
No,
like
he
likes
doesn't.
to.
No, he has that
doesn't.
guy Luke Wilson. That
Right,
guy's not gonna-
And Jacob Hollister.
because they got rid of a rat. Or Vanette.
That sucks for them that they got rid of him without because they were like all in on
We
Will
have
Disley. Then he
Disley,
gets
yeah.
Look how
yeah.
good this
No,
was.
I
How
know.
reliable
It's
he was.
just
A great
it's
passer.
unfortunate. It's
It's
unfortunate.
very unfortunate. I'm gonna say the Seahawks cover handily, and like I said, if Schaub starts, the defense gets right. Metcalf and Lockett have great games, and I think Carson runs all over them. The next game on the docket is the pitiful New York Jets. Oh my God! Anyone found them yet? We're still looking for them.
We
They're
are.
ghosts.
They're ghosts.
They're ghosts, right?
Seeing ghosts.
Yep.
I'm speechless. This is just because everybody in America thought they would be competitive because of the way they play Dallas.
Yeah.
They're on the road
Minshew mania.
going into Minshew Mania in Duval and playing the Jaguars. The Jaguars are opened at 5.5-point favorites. The over/under is 41.5. You're first.
I like the Jaguars. I like the under just because I feel like the Jags they'll just win. It's one of those games where they're just like, I mean, they're not a high-powered offense anyway. They're gonna run the ball with Fournette. They're gonna pass to Mr. Chark and now I guess Westbrook. The Jets are obviously not. I mean, the Jets defense isn't that bad, right? I mean,
no,
they're not that bad. I mean, last night I wouldn't. That's not the Jets' defense.
No, the Patriots gave them a lot of positive field position there last night. They have defensive. It's just the defense makes that offense so much better. It's not a sign of how bad the defense is. They were on the field the whole game because Darnold was off in 3 plays every drive. That's.
I do like the Jaguars in this game though because the Jets are just going to be very disheartened, and the Jags are feeling.
Do we see this semi-resurgence of Saxonville coming back?
It's possible. I don't know how you are Darnold and you just come out and you get over it. And I know the Jags defense isn't quite what it was last year.
They're still good.
They're
still good.
Still a good defense.
It's still better than average.
Yeah.
It's still better than some average.
You have your first-round pick, Josh Allen. You have Ngoku. You have.
He's nice. You got the pick. You got the pick.
Miles Jack.
Yes.
They have some players.
And you're talking about a team that's going to run the ball a lot, that's going to keep your defense on the field. I bet you this is the type of game where Jacksonville's time of possession could be really handy here. It could be a big number.
And that's what I meant with they're just going to win this game. They just want to. They're not going in here saying we're going to throw it all over the field or anything. We just want to win this game like 17-3. We just want to win this game 17-3. Pound it with Fournette. Get a little play action, Minshew action going.
Here's my bonus question: is this a game where Minshew goes out there and kills the reeling Jets because the wheels are coming off there, and makes a case to be the starter upon Foles' return? Is this the game where Minshew puts up 300 yards, throws for a couple touchdowns, and gets some help from Fournette with 80 yards on the ground?
I don't believe so.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's the Fournette show. I think Minshew's going to continue to do what he's done and hit Chark, hit Westbrook. I have more faith in those two having a decent game than I do Minshew having a really good game this week. I'm not as big a believer in it as you guys were, but no, I think this is a game they're just going out to win. I don't think it's going to be a game where he winds up putting up 303 or 4.
I don't think the Jaguars are a bad team. They're a very competitive team. You saw they hung in there with New Orleans for 4 quarters.
And with that run that they have, and with Fournette and the Jets, offensive line being or defensive line being exploitable there, they can run that ball. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Fournette. I think you're going to see a fast-paced game, a game that the clock runs quick on because of that. I think the Jets are going to give you a heavy dose of Lev Bell too, so I think it's a low-scoring game. And, no, I have more faith in the pass catchers this week than I do Minshew. Yeah.
I know you got a final score of somebody.
I'll go 20-6 Jaguars.
I'll take 24-10 Jags. Let Bell
And
get
I like Minshew to go for like maybe 200, 220. You know, like he said, I think it's gonna be just a game where we're just
I'm
like
going to go 28-13 Jags.
they're going in just saying we're just gonna win this game. Let's just win this game. Let's just run the ball, play good defense.
Minshew throws a pair, and Fournette gets 2.
Mm-hmm. It's a bad spot for the Jets.
Yeah, the only fantasy player you're even thinking about playing on there right now is Let Bell.
Yeah.
Start him up. His volume is still huge, but don't even think about it.
I'd be watching the target share for Demaryius Thomas going forward as well for that team.
That's true.
The Eagles will be visiting the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 2-point favorites. The over/under is 43. I'd like you to start with this one.
They talk about a spread I don't understand. I think the Eagles are in disarray. I think the Bills, I know they've been a slow starting team this year. I know they just didn't look great against the Dolphins, but I think this has Bills butt whooping written all over it. I think this is a game where the Eagles are going to have a hard time getting out of their own way. I think they're going to be hard pressed to score more than 10 or 14 points. I think the Bills are going to be able to exploit a team that is still very injured. Avonte Maddox, I believe they've already ruled out or said is doubtful for this week yet again. D-Jack's still hurt.
I gotta wonder what the extent of that injury is with Avonte Maddox. That's scary.
And Deshaun Jackson. Like, I thought he'd be back by now too on offense. So they both scare me a lot.
You want to talk about jinx teams? Are the Eagles a jinx team this year with all those injuries?
Yeah, it's quite possible.
They've had a ton of injuries.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the Bills there in a pretty serious way. I think they get right. I'm going to say Bills win this game 31-7.
So you expect a big performance out of Josh Allen?
I do. I like Allen this week. I think he's going to stick one in with his feet, and I think he's good for another 1 or 2 through the air. Let's say he gets Cole Beasley in the end zone. I think the Eagles have an exploitable situation out of the slot there, and I think Beasley can do pretty well this week. I think John Brown can eat too. Yeah, I really do. I think this could be Allen. I'm going to say Allen gets 1 with his feet and another 1 in the air. Gore runs 1, and I think the defense is going to put 1 home too.
Oh, wow. You say a pick 6 or a fumble recovery?
Yeah, I think the defense is going to put 1 to the house in this game. I do. Wentz just isn't there. They're not well. They're not getting good field position. So that's a big thing too. You're talking about a team. I think I saw earlier this year their average starting drive has been at the 21-yard line, their own 21. So you're talking about teams on defense. Eagles have to go 80 yards, and when they do make mistakes, the defense only has to bring it 20, 30 yards to the house. Opportunities are there. I love the Bills' defense this week. Excuse me.
So, I hate talking about the Eagles. Look at me, all Giant style. I hate talking about the Eagles. But this is the Eagles season. And so, somehow, I see the Eagles winning this game somehow, right? I'm trying to formulate it in my head because it's a very, very bad spot.
This is an Eagles team who's the only team to beat Green Bay so far.
I know. So the only thing I could think of is that they somehow muster because I try to sometimes I never do this in fantasy. Don't ever do emotional stuff or anything in fantasy. It's all numbers, guys. All numbers, always numbers. Break down the numbers, crunch the numbers. Don't think the way that I'm talking about right now. But I somehow see the Eagles winning this game. It's not gonna. It's a very bad spot. You got to go to Buffalo and play a dominant defense, right? They're gonna have to somehow run the ball. I don't know how they're gonna be able to do that, but they're gonna have to somehow run the ball, and they're gonna have to somehow the Eagles have to protect their defense because their secondary is so bad. It's like playing Pee-wee players. I mean, it's like so bad. It's desperate. Like their game plan should be going in, try to run the ball, try to eat the play clock on their end and keep their defense off the field.
Does this game have sleeper shootout potential?
The way that I'm describing it right now, no, because I'm trying to make it so that the Eagles go in there, try to run the ball somehow, and try to keep their defense off the field because their defense is so atrocious. Their secondary is.
They're gonna have to play clock management.
They're gonna have to play clock management, and Carson Wentz has got to play better. I mean, I don't know how, or I don't really know where he can get it from, but I mean, you just got to play better. This is their season. If they lose this game, man, it's just their panic button is on full.
I'm going to disagree there because the division's weak. Dallas are going to be bipolar all year. Dallas have a bunch of matchups they can lose.
You know how Philadelphia is.
Eagles
You know how the city of Philadelphia is. They're going to be trying to burn the house down.
No,
you
but
know
I
what
think
mean?
Brian's got a point, though. I mean, this is a Cowboys team that's been shaky. They finally got their first good win of the year.
They've
I
both
mean,
been shaky.
Yeah. Oh no, the Eagles.
They're
Look,
bipolar.
I just told you I
both
think the Eagles get demolished this week. But I think the Eagles' problems are fixable, though. They're so injured right now.
Mhm.
We can't, and I think that offense is really, really hampered a lot by not having Djax there. That might even be bigger than
Nelson
Maddox.
Aguilar is a big
Yeah,
downgrade
he
for
just,
DJ.
yeah,
He
he
is.
just, he doesn't,
is.
yeah, he doesn't run routes all that well. He's not as good a deep threat. He
And
can't
when
hang
we're-
on to the ball.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot of JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
They must just not think he's polished enough or ready. You know, there's got to be something going on there. Maybe he's not the talent they thought he was coming out of college. I don't know.
So I'm pretty much going with Peterson rallying the troops against. I think it's going to be a close. I think the opposite of what my friend here says. It's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game. I think somehow the Eagles pull it out. Somehow.
I'm not even going to be starting Jeffrey most likely this week in fantasy. I think
That's a tough start.
Unless I have Wentz or Goddard and I need him at tight end, I don't think
The way
there's an Eagle I
Tre'Davious
need
White is
willing to
playing, I
start.
wouldn't
He's been
start
playing
Jeffrey.
great.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't think
He actually made a great
Tre'Davious
play
White
in the
got the
Dolphins
momentum
game.
back
He
for
did.
Buffalo.
He did.
Last week. Buffalo's about to go down 21-9.
He did.
Yeah.
And you can't go in the media after the game. You can't lay right in his face and say, "How did we let that happen?"
Yeah.
It's inexcusable that a team like the Dolphins and be up 21-9 on you. I'm concerned that they would get this way. And a team like the Eagles, who they can probably not rebound against.
Yeah.
Okay, because if Wentz gets out to a lead, they can
start,
control the game
Start. Yeah,
better.
that's a slow start. That's what we're talking about.
So if the Bills could show me something in the first quarter, I like them to win this game and maintain and keep the Eagles' offense off the field. But if they get sluggish and they leave Carson Wentz in the game, I think this will be the wake-up call that Buffalo's going to need, and they're going to take a loss. I am a diehard Bills fan, but I'm being realistic here. It's not going to be an easy game. I think this might be a real first tough test of the defense.
Yeah.
Because you have to maintain Jeffrey. You have to maintain Ertz. You have to maintain Goddard now. Goddard has evolved into a weapon. It's digging into Ertz's output. So going forward,
at least I was right
if I have Zach
Ertz,
I'm trying to sell low on him right now in fantasy because I'm afraid of the emergence of Goddard. No, if I have him, I want to sell low.
Well, but then you're not getting the value that you want.
No, but you're not. I think
you can still get a wide receiver 2 and a right
you can try and see
combo.
2. You might have somebody out there that you can try and say something.
You can
like,
get a combined 20 points in your league.
Someone with name value might be like, "Oh,
that's true."
Ertz,
if you had, I would take him.
I think Ertz. I think somehow that offense is changing and Godaire's emerging, and I think they want to get him more involved, or they want to go back to the 2 tight end system they once had. But the younger body.
This is a juicy matchup for Josh Allen.
Yes.
And I would like to see him capitalize on the juicy matchup. For fantasy purposes, I own him, but I mean just in general.
Now we're running short on time. We got 8 minutes, guys, so I want to go through these last matchups really quick. I'm not going to spend shit for time on this. The Rams are in London, laying 13.5 to the Bengals. The over/under is 48.5. Does anyone want to disagree with me that this game is Rams and over, and Cincinnati loses by 17, but they put up 17 points to process because they're not going to get completely blown out. They're not. They're 0-7. They're terrible, but they're semi-competitive.
Yeah, no disagreement. Only Bengal I'm even thinking about starting right now is going to be Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon, you can't trust at all. Erickson, I don't believe in that. Auden Tate, maybe if you're desperate. But, yeah, I think they're going to score. I just don't know where it's going to come from. And the only reason I even have confidence in Boyd at all is just because he's getting tons of targets. They're not good ones. They're Andy Dalton targets.
I believe Rams is going to be on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm not thrilled about it, but it's there's
depends on if AJ Green plays.
If AJ Green, he's not playing.
He's not playing. I don't think he's playing.
Why travel him to London?
I think AJ Green is being shopped around the street.
Yeah, no disagreement. Fire up your Rams too. I think you can play Goff this week. You can play all 3 receivers.
Absolutely.
You can play Everett at tight end if you need it. You know, you fire up anybody you have on the Rams and don't be worried.
Rams in a blowout. The Bengals.
Yep, I'll go 31-17.
As dusty as possible. Yeah. They are as dusty as possible. Play all the. They don't have any defense. Play all the Rams.
Yeah.
Bengals are trash.
Yes, they are. They're on that. They're number 1 dust team. Baby.
The Cardinals and the Saints does not have a line out. I'm assuming we're waiting to see who's going to be a quarterback, but this could be the return of Drew Brees, although they're on the bye week after. We can't even discuss this game because we don't know the starting quarterback. They changes all the parameters.
Yeah, Saints in an ass.
It doesn't even matter. I don't even care. I
regardless,
don't care who plays starting quarterback for the Saints.
Arizona
like the
is
Saints.
not a good team.
No.
They have their point differential is negative with their winning.
The win streak is over, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
believe in the Cardinals
Me
one
either.
bit. I think
Me
they
either.
got trounced.
I don't care who. I don't even know why.
Unless that spread winds up. And
put the
it's in
spread
New
at
Orleans.
7 if it's Teddy two glove, and put it at 10 if it's Breeze.
Oh, I think it's higher.
Or
With,
higher.
I think it's
You know what
higher
I mean?
with Bridgewater.
I don't know
7
why
and
they're.
even
I
higher
don't know
with
what they're
Breeze.
waiting for.
I think it's around 10 or 12. Yeah.
I love at can guard Mike this week, baby. Light it up. I don't care if he's guarded by Patrick Peterson. I don't care.
What are we in the 4:00 games now? Still, what do we got?
Just about. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go with the last 1:00 game. The Broncos at the surprising Colts. Colts laying 60. Over/under is 43.5.
This is in Indy.
In Indy, this is a fire sale game. The Broncos are selling.
Yeah.
They're pretty much checking out, and the Colts are the real deal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the Colts by 17 with performances from Marlon Mack on the ground.
We just saw a shaky Kansas City team minus Mahomes slaughter Denver, and Denver not get going.
In Denver.
And Denver just got rid of probably their best offensive player or second best,
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I like
breaking
Sutton.
out. But yeah, I think this is the Colts. I think it's the Colts in a big way. That run game, that ground game's been great. The offensive line is awesome. Brissett's playing great and not making mistakes. I'll take the Colts, and they cover pretty handily.
You said it was 16.
You said this? No, spread 6.
6. Oh,
I'm gonna take the Colts here. I'm gonna say Colts 33. I'll give Denver 9. So just goes under.
I like Colts. Yep, I like the Colts. Same thing, 30-7. I guess I'll give them a touchdown because I don't even know why I would give them a touchdown because I'll give them 6, not 7, because I don't believe they can score a touchdown.
All right, and we're running out of time, guys. So we got to do these really quick.
Steelers, Dolphins, play all your Steelers. That's Monday night. Next game.
Yep.
Oh, let's get that. Let's get Monday night out of the way.
So,
quick
back to the last game. Brissett is no worry against Denver defense.
No worry.
Okay.
No.
Raiders,
like
Texans in Houston. A bounce back game for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
Texans are laying 6.5. The over under is 51.5. I'm gonna say the game's a shootout. Watson's gonna outdo Carr, but Josh Jacobs and Carr's ability to get the ball to Waller and Moreau going inside the number.
Great fantasy game, by the way. Great fantasy game.
Only problem I have is I think there are better options out there than Carr this week. So there's really only 2 Raiders I'm starting in this great fantasy game. Moreau, if you're desperate at tight end, maybe. But
I would never say I'm starting Carr.
Yeah, I'm only
Watson's
really starting. Yeah, I'm really only starting Jacobs and Waller.
Actually,
you know what? I feel great about them on the right.
I kind of like
awesome
Carr.
about them.
I kind of like Carr because the Texans secondary.
I just think
they kind of upgraded it. I guess.
I just think there are better options out there that could be picked up if needed.
Well, yeah, if there's better options. I'm just saying if it's a desperation time, you might want to take a flyer.
And as far as Houston goes, like I told you earlier, I like Kenny Stills this week. The Raiders don't instill fear in me, if you will.
No.
With Will Fuller out, Stills is.
I mean, if you watch football, you witnessed what happened in Green Bay. You
would not be shocked if this was a Kenny Stills 4 for 121 and a touchdown type of game where he just gets loose for a big one.
Yeah, that's a good sleeper.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yep.
The 49ers and the Panthers. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites. The over/under is 41.5. This is a hard one. I'd like to
that was a good one.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I like to make a bold statement and say this is Kyle Allen's audition for the long-term job. A impressive performance sparks up the QB controversy because no team has been able to figure out San Fran yet. Ultimately, I do not think this is the team that's going to. No, I think they're going to contain McCaffrey, eliminate him from the equation. I think the Niners are going to grind their way to a 20-17 victory. I think the Panthers are going to cover, but I think it's going to be a very low, tight game. And even though they're going to stop McCaffrey, I think Allen makes enough plays to score at least 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to go the opposite here. I'm going to take Carolina upsets the Niners for their first loss.
Wow.
Carolina defense is
You
good.
heard it here first, guys.
I'm gonna take the Panthers, and You said 20-17. I'm going to take the Panthers low scoring game. I'm going to take the Panthers 20, and I'm going to say the Niners with 13. I don't think they're getting going against this team. The offense doesn't scare me all too much. I think the run game will do their share. I just think Jimmy G doesn't have enough to get it done against a pretty talented defense. Panthers are going to look to slow it down with a lot of looks to McCaffrey, a lot of short passes, and I think they get it done in an ugly game.
That's funny because I was thinking I was going to be the one to say it, but I actually like the Panthers 24-21 in a close game. I don't think the Niners offense is good. They're not very scared. They just run the ball. The Panthers defense is underrated, man. We talked about it earlier. I think the Panthers defense is pretty good. I think they match up pretty well.
I think the worst performance the Panthers defense had in the last month is giving up 400 yards of Minshew mania.
Yeah, number 2 fantasy performing defense so far this year, and available in a lot of leagues.
Are they in the
they
levels,
just had a bye week?
Are they in a league with the Saints and the Niners and the Patriots and the Bills?
As far as real life or fantasy?
Real life.
They're close.
They're there.
Close.
Let's say that they're the
very
next
close.
team below that tier.
Very close.
But
They're in the same tier with the Vikings and the Packers, I feel.
I think I'd put the Vikings in that higher tier than I would put the Carolina Panthers. I'd be more apt to put the Vikings there. But yeah, they're just in that next tier below. But I like that offense. I like Kyle Allen. I obviously love Christian McCaffrey. I just think they have a little bit more. The Niners, it's really that run game for me. That's really all I'm into there. And
They have.
I don't think it lets them win a close game.
This game means a lot. I think this. So I'm picking the Panthers. I think if the Niners win this game, this shows me that they can play against
the Niners win this game.
A good team, because the Panthers are a good team.
If the Niners win this game, this puts the stamp for me on the legitimacy, and it increases the probability that the road to the Super Bowl could go through San Francisco.
I mean, because to me, this is one of those games where their offense is going to have to show something.
There's,
you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to win this game.
Division games that are going to define this year for the Niners. This is the first of the gauntlet.
Yeah, they're not going to win this game how they've won all the other games, is what I'm thinking. They're going to have to show something on offense.
Step up.
Yes. Yep. And if their offense steps up and show, then they're going to be a complete
Although
team.
It was downright impressive what they did against the Rams.
Very impressive what they did against the Rams.
Can they repeat it against the Western Carolina team coming off a bye? We'll see.
Yeah. All right. What else do we got here? Real quick, run through these last couple.
Well, we're going to say right now, Monday Night Football, don't we want to discuss it?
No.
If that game's not a blowout, I'll be tickled pink. The Dolphins are not going to be competitive like they were last week. That's a division rival. Those games are always funky, period.
Yeah.
So, I like the Steelers a lot in that game. Whatever the line is, sure.
I don't want to spend a lot of time
Stash
on this.
Mark Walton on your bench. That's the only thing I'd say about the Dolphins.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the Browns head to New England. They're off a bye. The number is 13-46. Wow. Does anybody give the Browns a chance here?
I'm going to continue to take the Patriots in these big numbers until they prove me otherwise. That defense is unreal. Baker's prone to mistakes. OBJ is not playing all that well. The only thing in the Browns that's really hurting me at all, it really would scare me at all, is Nick Chubb. And what does Bill Belichick do from you better than anybody else? Take your number one weapon.
Yeah, Belichick's gonna force Baker to try to beat them, which is funny because he's gonna force Baker to try to beat them you're not gonna beat them through the air anyway.
Is this the type of game that could be sneaky, where a player like Landry could make a difference and keep them in the game because Beckham's gonna be taken out of the equation by Gilmore? And the front seven's going to zero in on Chubb. Does this leave Landry to keep them in this game because might be the best number 2 receiver?
I mean, I wouldn't say he would keep him in the game, but I would say that he has probably the best chance to have a decent fantasy game, like a 5 for 60-yard game. Like a 15 point game.
You look at that team and what little time they gave Darnold last night. Baker's had a lot of problems this week. I don't think it's not so much that Landry isn't capable of it.
Their offensive line is pretty bad.
I think they're going to kill Baker. I just think
bad.
If he came out of this game with 3 turnovers and got sacked 5 times.
Is this a 21-point lead at the half for the Patriots?
Yes.
I don't need to say anything more.
They don't stand a
last
chance.
Quick nugget before I go to the final game for Sunday night. Is this a game where Snoot just comes in and is relevant off the rip?
I don't think so. I think you see a lot of Sony Michel, a lot of James White, a lot of Julian.
Yeah,
Same
the Pats
formula
don't
this
usually
week.
the Pats usually
Yeah,
let a guy get the hang of the
Yeah,
playbook. and stuff,
Sanu's
so-
going to be good. I don't think this is the week to fire him up. This is the week to have him on your bench and fantasy stash him. But yeah,
Eventually, he will become a big part of it.
I think
though.
Michelle gets a ton of run this week against a team that he should really eat versus James. Yeah, start those three guys. That's all I'm playing.
And the last one, really quick. Packers are 4.5-point favorites at Arrowhead this week. The over/under is 48.
That's right. Son.
No Mahomes changes a lot for this. This is a Packers win.
We were supposed to have one good primetime game.
I
this
know,
week.
right?
Mahomes is hurt.
Why can it not happen? Is there any miracle they can play?
No.
I'm going to take the Chiefs in an upset at home. I think Matt Moore does enough to get it done. He still has some great weapons. I think Kelsey gets on track. Tyreek Hill has been amazing since he's come back. Defense isn't bad. I know Denver sucks, but they just went and held them to 6 points on the road. Aaron Rodgers is somewhere between the Aaron we saw last week and the Aaron we saw the first 3 weeks of the season. I just think it's a tough game for them. I'm going to take the Chiefs in a lower scoring game by their standards and say Chiefs win that game 27-17.
I'm taking the Packers. What was the line?
Line is 4.5.
I don't think I like that, but I'll take the Packers to win. I don't even bet anyway, so I'll just take the Packers to win. I think they're gonna be getting after Matt Moore, Darius Smith, and them. They're gonna be getting after him. Of course, it changes the whole trajectory of the game without having Mahomes.
I'm gonna go.
I mean, I still think they could have some offensive production,
Yeah.
but I just think overall, I'm liking the Packers in this one.
I'm gonna go with the Packers, 38-28. I'm gonna say Aaron Rodgers has 3 touchdowns and Aaron Jones possibly. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, one of them. They'll probably go combined 150 yards in the back.
Comero with 5 for 105.
Okay.
And that's it for this week's edition of Treasure or Trash. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you all next week.
Later. I love that you already have the Uber coming. Fantastic.
Comero.
For somebody else, not for me.